Welcome back to another Eurofantasy deadline stream, and this will be the first one of the knockout stages as we enter match day 4. We have unlimited transfers, an increase of 5 million in our budget, and we can also pick up to 4 players from the same country. And what you see on screen is my 15-man squad. At the moment, I haven't made any changes from the team selection, but I can't guarantee this is locked in. There could be several changes before the deadline. There's a few 50-50 calls, and sometimes, you know, we're talking about very minute details here. For example, going for Unai Simon in goal instead of Pickford, and going for another English defender like Walker or Stones instead of Carvajal or Cucurella. It could be something like that instead, or maybe Diogo Costa in for Verbruggen. There's a few things that could change, but ultimately the structure and the teams I'm targeting will be pretty much the same as what I talked about all week in my Matchday 4 content. Be sure to check it out if you haven't already for detailed explanations. But as always, I'll delve straight into your questions and comments and answer everything you need to know ahead of the Matchday 4 deadline. We have just under 2 hours left until Switzerland versus Italy begins to commence Matchday 4. So Man United's finished puts his team, which looks very solid, but I think that's only a starting 11. Of course, the other 4 players I'm assuming are very strong too. But I do like Akanji. I have to say that from the Switzerland-Italy game, he's probably my favourite asset. Then it's Bastoni, and you've always got, you know, the 1 or 2 random players that will score the goals or maybe get the ball recoveries. But I really like Akanji. Mittelstadt as well, of course, 4 million. You can't ask for much more there. Verbruggen is a solid goalkeeper option, and yeah, to be honest, every single pick you've gone for looks really good. I like Morata against Georgia. He scored a hat-trick against them last year, and he's got a good record for the Spanish national team and 7 goals in 13 Euro appearances for his entire career. Cylindrus says, hey Dylan, 1, choose a striker, Gakpo, Ronaldo, Morata. Well, I've currently gone for Gakpo, so that's my answer at the moment. Already have 2 Spanish defenders and 1 midfielder. 2, which midfielder, Baumgartner or Sabitzer? I've gone for Sabitzer because he's a bit more nailed on. But Baumgartner has a great record for the Austrian national team, particularly in recent games. And to be fair, Sabitzer also has a quite decent record, but Baumgartner has been very impressive with the goals and assists in this calendar year. As for number 3, 1 defender, Ake, Pepe, Cancelo, posh German defender. I think Pepe, to be honest, ball recoveries, good clean sheet potential in the round of 16. But I think it also depends on your circumstances. So if you don't have the wildcard or limitless, you have to bear in mind that Portugal will likely face France in the quarterfinals and then potentially Spain or Germany in the semifinals. So yeah, I would probably go for Sabitzer. That's my current pick, but I do like Baumgartner. At the beginning of this tournament, he was the Austrian player I kept recommending to people, and I still like him. I might even go for both of them at the same time. The bracket Switzerland is in is easy. They could get to the semis or final. It's easy on paper, but some teams have surprised, like Romania beating Ukraine 3-0. You've also got England, of course. They've been very, you know, they've been underperforming, but I think they'd be the favourites to reach the final. Italy, of course, won it last time out. They've got heritage in this competition and also in international football. I wouldn't underestimate anybody. Also, Austria could beat any single team in that bracket. Well, if I say Slovakia knocking them out, I'd probably kind of doubt it, especially what you said about Pavlovic in Matchday 1. He did get kind of ripped by some English players, but we'll not get into that too much. Ian Coleman says, hi Dylan, I hope you're well. Likewise. Thorson and Doi in Bolo. I think Italy is the weakest team in that bracket. What do you feel about it? I respectfully disagree. I still think Romania is a weaker team, so to speak, on paper, and I think Slovakia is the weakest team overall left in the round of 16. But Italy, I know what you're saying. In terms of the big nations and the ones with a so-called chance of winning it, they would probably be the weakest, and I'm also backing Switzerland to win that game. But I think it's going to go to extra time and potentially penalties. My current prediction is 1-1. As for Ndoye, he scored his first international goal against Germany. He caused them all sorts of problems, but if I'm being completely honest, I think there are better forwards elsewhere like Morata, Gakpo, Cristiano Ronaldo, Harry Kane, Mbappe. I'm not sure about Lukaku. You know what? I'm not going to go there for now. But I think there are better alternatives in the forward position, and that's why I wouldn't recommend him necessarily. I also think it'll be quite a low-scoring game between Switzerland and Italy. Both of them are quite organised, well-drilled defensively, and they struggle at times, I think, for creativity and just scoring those goals. As for Mbolo, the same thing applies to him, but he's got a decent record for the Swiss national team. He's been established now for quite some time. But Ndoye, of course, was very impressive the other day. There's no denying it. There's 1 goal in 14 appearances for them. And overall, I just think there are more consistent goals and assists in terms of the forwards that you have available. I think they can offer those goal contributions on a more consistent basis than Ndoye. So that's why I haven't really recommended him recently. Yeah, I think Sabitzer is a good option. As for Gakpo and Ake, I think Gakpo's been the Netherlands' best player in this tournament. As for Ake, he's also been quite good. He got 2 assists in matchday 1. He can get ball recoveries as well. So I do like Nathan Ake, but my favourite way of covering the Dutch defensively is probably Verbruggen, which is what I've gone for at the moment. Then it's probably Ake, Virgil van Dijk, and unfortunately with Denzel Dumfries and Frimpong, rotation is possible, especially with Frimpong. Morata and Musiala, or Ronaldo and Gundogan, says Diogo. Very close. I'm probably going to say Morata Musiala, but it's 50-50 almost. Welcome, Hugo. Afnan says Theo Hernandez or Bastoni, and Gundogan or Williams. I think I'd go for Gundogan still. Now, with Nico Williams, he's facing a Georgia side who do leak in chances, and before this tournament, they've conceded 2 or 3 goals on average every single game. And against Spain, I think it's 10 goals conceded in the last 2 matches, including a 7-1 last year. Nico Williams got an assist in that match, but he only played around 46 minutes. But in terms of your defender question, I'll keep it quite simple. For round of 16, and based on the fixture in front of them, I think I'm still going to go for Theo Hernandez. I think I'm going to go for him still. And I'm going to go for Gundogan, but it's very, very close. Varmes says Saka and Carvajal or Pedri and Walker. Saka and Carvajal. No, I don't think Palmer will start, and nor do I think he should start necessarily. It's about finding that balance in international football. Does Palmer deserve more minutes? Certainly. I'm not going to dispute that, but I don't think putting him on the right-hand side for Saka will solve any issues for England. In fact, I think it will actually grow worse, but that's the way I see it. Nico Williams or Xavi Simons? Nico Williams. Costa or Magnan? Diogo Costa. Hi, Dylan. Morata or Depay? Morata. Now, I prefer Gakpo over both, but Depay's had a pretty awful tournament so far. I know he scored in matchday 3, but some Dutch supporters want him benched. I don't think that's going to happen. But with Morata, I just think the fixture makes him more appealing than Depay. And then with Gakpo, he's in great form and he's got a decent fixture on paper. And that's why he's my favourite of the 3. Why Ruiz over Rodri? I think he's got a bit more attacking potential in the Spanish side, and he also was very impressive in the first 2 games. In the team of the tournament so far, in the midfield, I think Fabian Ruiz is right up there, if not probably the first or second best midfielder. Man United's finish says Captain Akanji, Mittelstadt, Musiala or Havertz for today. I think all of them are pretty sound, but I think I'd go for Musiala. Akanji will be second in my list though. Saka, Morata, Williams, Carvajal for tomorrow. I think I'd go for Morata. And then Fernandes, Cancelo for Monday. I'd go for Fernandes. And finally, I'd go for Gakpo on Tuesday there. Man United is finished. What do you think about a Spanish duo of Ruiz and Williams? I've considered it. Now, my problem with Williams is very good player to watch, but his overall record for Spain in terms of goals and assists isn't great. Only 2 goals for the Spanish national team in 16 appearances, but that's only going to improve. I think Musiala has a similar record, for example, so I'm not against that. And what I like most about Williams is the fixture against Georgia, and I think Spain will score 2 or 3 goals and win quite comfortably. According to the New York Times, Bastoni, 25, played the entirety of Italy's 1-1 draw against Croatia on Monday, but can now miss Saturday's fixture due to illness. That'd be a massive blow to Italy, and we might as well go through it. Now, I don't want to talk about too many, is he going to start, these kind of questions for Italy and Switzerland, because we're going to go through the lineups in pretty much 50 minutes time. But I'm going to show you now the predicted lineup by Sky Italia, who are very reliable. So thank you for that segue, mate. Let's now go to Italy's team news. So DiMarco is officially ruled out, and that is confirmed by Spalletti, the Italian national team coach. But now what I want to show you is the predicted lineup, which has Donnarumma in goal, a back 4 of Di Lorenzo, Mancini, Bastoni and Darmian. Remember, Calafiori is suspended, and I covered all the suspended players in my team selection video and podcast. I'll probably kind of provide a recap very soon as well. The midfield should be Barella, Fagioli and Cristante, with a front 3 of Chiesa, Scamacca and El Shaarawy. A flash to the past, is that the saying? Well, anyway, it's been a long time since El Shaarawy has been a starter for Italy, and he is now back potentially in the left wing spot. I don't really trust any Italian assets going forwards, but I do like Bastoni if he's fit. Thank you for that update, though. Hopefully he is available. I want to see the best players feature in these big games, but you know what? I'm going to go for the suspended players now, just to provide a recap for those that didn't see the team selection or may have forgotten. So the players that are unavailable for matchday 4 include Wimmer from Austria, and also Hjulmand from Denmark, Jonathan Tah for the host Germany, Mekvabishvili from Georgia, Calafiori, as I just mentioned, Banchu from Romania, Widmer from Switzerland, Jansa from Slovenia, and then 2 Turkish players, Kalinoglu and Akaydın. In terms of players that were suspended in matchday 3 and are now available, they include Rodri, Luka Bacchio, Rafael Leao, and Bardakçı from Turkey. So just bear that in mind, and if you want to maybe have another recap, I'd suggest rewinding a little bit. Maybe the pronunciations aren't particularly great, but I did my research and hopefully I don't have natives crying or laughing. Pepe playing at the top at 41 is mad. It is, and I really like him for ball recoveries. That's why I've got him at the moment, and I think Portugal have a good chance of a clean sheet, but it has to be said, Slovenia beat them in March in a 2-0 win. It was a friendly, of course. Portugal rotated quite heavily, but still, it's worth mentioning. Captain Musiala or Gundogan? My preference is Musiala, but I think Gundogan is safer in terms of minutes. He's also the first choice penalty taker, especially if Kai Havertz isn't on the pitch, which is a possibility. But Julian Nagelsmann did defend Kai Havertz in his press conference, and there is the possibility that Füllkrug and Havertz start together up front. Do you think Kane is really good value considering Spain fixtures? No. I never said that Kane is great value, even at the beginning of this tournament when I classed him as the best striker in the game. 11 million is expensive. You can probably find a Gakpo, as you're seeing right now, who offer much better value. But what I get from Kane is the confidence that he will score. I know England have been misfiring. They're quite dysfunctional as a team. But I really think Kane is much more reliable in front of goal compared to a Morata. What maybe evens things out a little bit is the fact that Morata plays in a very good Spanish team at the moment that are creating a lot of chances. And Morata has a good record in the Euros with 7 goals in 13 appearances. They also beat Georgia 7-1 last year with Morata scoring a hat-trick in that game. Nico Williams is absolutely fine, by the way. I'd actually be more tempted to go for Nico Williams over Bellingham compared to Morata over Kane, but I'm not going to deny it. Morata has definitely crossed my mind. He'd be most likely to come in for, I'd say, Gakpo. I think that's what I'm looking at the moment. But it's good suggestions. I see what you're saying, but I'm just trying to offer the counter arguments. I don't think it's all doom and gloom for England. They can still pick things up in the round of 16 and quarterfinals. They just need to get that balance right in the midfield. Is Gareth Southgate the right manager? Maybe not, but he's done a good job for England over the years. And I think he could find that formula for at least the next 2 matches if England do go on to win against Slovakia. Manuel is finished, says Dylan. I'm top 1.3k in your mini league. And I'm in the top 10 in another mini league. That looks good. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people in the mini league and it's very competitive. I'm struggling to get a good kind of rank in that mini league, but it's great to hear, and hopefully you can win the other mini league you're in. No interest in Austrian players. Well, I've got one, mate. I've got Sabitzer. So if we go back to my team for now, and I haven't made any changes at the moment. Once I make changes, I let patrons and channel members know first, but I literally haven't made any changes for me to report. But I might make some within the next hour or so. I've got Sabitzer right now. The other player that really intrigues me is Baumgartner. They have some decent defenders here and there, but expected minutes, and also I think Turkey could still score in that game. I think with Turkey, you really want to target them defensively, so go for the attacking players from Austria instead, and Baumgartner and Sabitzer, for me, are the 2 best to go for. Ronaldo or Gakpo? Gakpo still for me. I just think Ronaldo, he's been getting into some good positions. He's had a lot of shots, but I don't know. He hasn't scored in, 10 appearances in Euros and World Cup tournaments from open play. I think his last one was in the 2018 World Cup. I'm just not too convinced about Ronaldo right now, to be honest with you. Can he do well against Slovenia? Of course he can, but going forwards, and to be fair, it's not too relevant for me because I'll likely play the wildcard in Matchday 5, but I'm more confident in Gakpo, the way he's playing, and he's the talismanic figure for the Netherlands compared to Ronaldo. Besides, I've already got Bruno Fernandes, and I could even go for Bernardo Silva as a midfield double-up. Hi Dylan, I'm not seeing Mittelstadt in many teams. Is he predicted to be benched? I discussed this in some of my videos. I think the latest draft was the one. Now, David Raum came on as a substitute, got the assist for Füllkrug, and there is a slight possibility that he takes his place, but I still think Mittelstadt is first choice. The reason why I haven't gone for him is because Denmark are a tough cookie to crack. I've looked at their recent record against Germany, and there's been some high-scoring games in there. I think there was a 3-3 draw not so long ago, and Germany aren't the most solid team defensively. Now, Mittelstadt is only 4 million, and I just think with this 5 million increase in budget, you don't really need Mittelstadt as much as you maybe needed him back in the group stages. I think that's the main reason why people are gravitating away from him. Yeah, Schlotterbeck could be a differential. He's very good for ball recoveries, that is true. If you looked at UCL Fantasy this season, only Mats Hummels was really clear of him in that category. Yeah, I think Schlotterbeck is a great option for the round of 16 only. I'd only go for him if you've got the wildcard to use in Matchday 5, because once Jonathan Tah is back, he'll be #1 choice to partner Antonio Rudiger. Dylan Musiala comes off early in the second half as Gundogan the better captain option. I mentioned this earlier when someone asked about Gundogan or Musiala captain. What Gundogan has over Musiala is the minutes, and he's also the first choice penalty taker. But I just think Musiala is more exciting to watch, and obviously that doesn't translate to attacking returns per se. But in this tournament, he has been impressive. He gets into great positions, and I think he's more threatening overall compared to Gundogan. Barella's okay. I just don't think he's particularly great. With Italy, the only ones I'd really consider are Bastoni, maybe Mancini for this game. Darmian is actually pretty good for ball recoveries, as he showed for Inter Milan in UCL Fantasy, but yeah, with Barella, I'm just not a big fan. I think you can get much better value. Eriksen, Gundogan, Musiala, Nico Williams, Fabian Ruiz. There's a lot of midfielders I could name that I'd probably put ahead of Barella. Ruiz or Nico? I've gone for Ruiz, but they're both good options. There's no denying that Nico Williams is more of an attacking player, playing on the wings, with Fabian Ruiz being more of a box-to-box, but I just think he's got more to his game in terms of ball recoveries, which really helps out in Euro Fantasy. Afnan says Fernandes and Wirtz or Bellingham and Williams. Very close, but I'd probably go for Fernandes and Wirtz. Now, there is a slight chance that Wirtz has dropped to include Füllkrug in, and then have a front two of Kai Havertz and Füllkrug. That's something I've seen in certain media outlets, but I take it with a pinch of salt. I just think Fernandes is that good of an option with a great fixture, and that's why I've gone for that duo. Yeah, Füllkrug is okay. I think he's going to start, but it's not set in stone, and he might be more of an impact player off the bench instead of starting games and doing really well. So I don't think it's like a locked-in thing that he's going to start, but of course, it's very hard to ignore him with 2 goals off the bench, and he's got a great record for Germany. I think it's now 13, 14 goals in around 18 games. It's a very impressive record, actually. I'm stuck with Nico Williams and Sabitzer. Who do I go for? I've gone for Sabitzer myself, so it'd be a contradictory for me to go for the other one. I like Nico Williams a lot, especially as a player and also the fixture, but I'd have more confidence in Sabitzer being the talismanic figure for Austria, and I think Austria can score 2 or 3 goals quite easily, just like Spain. Yeah, Calhanoglu suspended. That's why I just mentioned his name. I'm torn between going with Simmons or Sabitzer. I'd go for Sabitzer personally. Omar, buenos días, saludos desde Ecuador. Do you think Yamal is a good option? Yes, I do think he's a good option, and he's in my top 5, I think, or top 6 forwards. I'd probably rank Morata ahead of him. With Yamal, a bit similar to Nico Williams, I see him more of an assister rather than a goal scorer, but that could certainly change in the years to come. Yeah, I like Yamal a lot, but I think Morata will be my favourite Spanish forward. Choose 2 players between Kane, Ronaldo, Morata, Gakpo, Yamal. Well, I've gone for Kane and Gakpo, but I think all of them are very good, and no matter who you pick, you'll probably get points in the process. Round will start, so sports betting. Well, we'll wait and see. Maybe you're right. Morata or Kane? For the round of 16 only, I completely understand people that say Morata, but I'm going to still stick with Kane, to be honest. Gakpo, Morata? I'm going for Gakpo right now, so that's my answer. Is there a possibility that I'll change it? Yes. I'm kind of 50-50 on that one, but I'm kind of covering Spain offensively, or at least going for an attacking sort of player with a midfielder in Fabian Ruiz, and I want to balance things out a little bit if possible. I think my biggest concern is doubling up on England offensively. I can understand people that kind of criticise that. And also, I think it's also the balance of the defenders and goalkeepers. So maybe instead of Pickford, I go for Unai Simon, as referenced at the beginning of the stream, and then I go for Stones or Walker in for Carvajal or Cucurella. I might even go for a triple up in England defensively and remove Bellingham. So there's a few things that could change in my team. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe for new. We're going to try get this stream to over 300 likes. It'd be massively appreciated. And we're also looking to get to 25,000 subscribers. I think we can make big progress today. So be sure to keep liking the video, subscribing, and checking all the links in the description below. Yeah, I do. I've got 0.5 million left in my team. Now, maybe it's also playing a part in my team selection and the way I've built my squad. I think there is this kind of tendency to kind of fill all your budget up and not have anything go to waste or to have so much money in the bank. But I think you could easily build a great 50-man squad and have 3 or 4 million left over. How about Virgil van Dijk and Theo Hernandez? Yeah, of course I've considered them, but I've already got Verbruggen to cover the Dutch defensively. And with Theo Hernandez, it's Belgium. And I think with Kevin De Bruyne and players of that quality like Trossard who can just turn a game in a moment, a clean sheet isn't guaranteed. But France have been good defensively. I just think with France, though, they've got the toughest fixture of any of the top nations, with the exception of Belgium themselves, of course, in that matchup. And then going forwards with no wild card, France's route to the final is very difficult, and I don't really see many clean sheets on paper. What do you think about Füllkrug, Morata, and Gakpo? Füllkrug is my least favourite, actually. I think he's more of an impact sub, so he makes a big difference off the bench. And if he starts a game, he's not really guaranteed to score. But I have to say, out of those three players you mentioned, Füllkrug has the best record for the national team. It's almost a 1-on-1 ratio. But for matchday 4, I think it's a toss-up between Gakpo and Morata, and I've currently gone for the Dutchman. Which Spain mids are optimal for this game week? Probably Fabian Ruiz and Nico Williams. When do price changes happen? They were supposed to happen after the matchday 3 deadline passed, but they didn't. I'm not sure what's going on there. If it doesn't happen after the matchday 4 deadline, I'm not sure if they'll happen at all. If you had all chips left, how would you use them? Limitless matchday 5, wildcard matchday 6. Debraj Senior, hopefully I didn't butcher that name. In place of Mittelstat, should I go with Ake, Nuno, Pepe, Bastoni, Stones? Yeah, I can understand why you're doing that. I'm not sure what the rest of your setup is, but my favourite would be Pepe. I like John Stones a lot for the fixture, and John Stones is a quality defender, of course, but I think Pepe is my favourite. Jeff C says Saka and Carvajal, double England and Spanish defence, or Pedri and Walker. I'd rather go for Saka and Carvajal. Kane or Ronaldo or Depay or Gakpo or Morata, choose 2. Well, I've gone for Kane and Gakpo, so that's my personal preference, but they're all good options. My least favourite would be Depay, and then probably Ronaldo in 4th. So yeah, I think Morata is a close third. It's very difficult to separate him and Gakpo. Options for 9.5 million midfielder. Well, there's only De Bruyne and Bellingham at 9.5 million, and of course everybody else is cheaper. But yeah, I like De Bruyne a lot. I still do. It's just the fixture against France that's difficult. I think that could be low scoring. Now, over the years with France-Belgium, I think a recent meeting was a 3-2 win for France with De Bruyne getting 2 assists, for example. But it's kind of like a feast or famine in those matches. You either get a lot of goals or you just get a 0-0. There's no in-between, it seems, with those big matchups. But yeah, my favourite is probably Bellingham at 9.5 million. Ronaldo. Well, what can we say about Ronaldo? He was in my first draft. He might still come into my team, but I'm not fully convinced by his performances. Why only one Spain attacker? Just to balance things out a little bit in the attack, and I will admit, doubling up on Spain offensively is more appealing than England, for example, but the reason why I've gone for Bellingham and Kane is because if England were to score, those two are so likely to get that singular goal, for example, if it were to happen. But I think England could step things up a little bit and win by 2 or 3 goals here. I think 1 or 2-0 is the most likely scoreline, but yeah, I really back Bellingham as a Euro fantasy asset, and if you compare him to Nico Williams, Fabian Ruiz, or any of these Spanish midfielders, I think Bellingham is far more appealing. He's more consistent in terms of goals and assists for club, maybe not so much for country yet, but that could obviously change in the months to come. Baumgartner, better than Sabitzer in terms of attacking returns, don't you think? Yes, but a bit similar to the Musiala Gundogan debate. In terms of expected minutes, he's not as secure. And we saw that in matchday 3 when Baumgartner was benched. He came off, made an impact, got the assist, but that's something else to bear in mind. Now, I have to say, I'm actually considering going for both Baumgartner and Sabitzer. Why Mbappe? All his games will be hard because it's Mbappe, and he's got a good record against all of these top nations. I also look at the other forwards at our disposal. Morata, great fixture in the round of 16, but he's also going to have the same problem of having very difficult fixtures going forwards, same with Cristiano Ronaldo or most of these players from top nations. Then you look at the other side of the bracket, and Gakpo, Harry Kane would have the best fixtures, so to speak, but sometimes these easier teams actually end up being more difficult than people expect. Gakpo, Dembele. Gakpo easily for me. I think Dembele, great dribbler, fantastic player to watch on his day, but very poor in front of goal, and even his final decision making can be left wanting. ¿Tienes pensado hacer algún cambio? Es posible, ya lo dije antes. Puede ser que voy por Unai Simón en vez de Pickford. También puede ir por John Stones o Walker, por Cucurella o Carvajal. También está la posibilidad de ir por Baumgartner de Austria en vez de Bellingham, o ir por Nico Williams, también Morata por Gakpo. Hay varios cambios que puedo hacer, pero en este momento estoy bastante contento con este equipo. Pickford or Simon, I'm going for Pickford. Just remember they obviously both play on the same day, which is why I'm guessing you're asking the question. But I've gone for Pickford because I think England are more likely to keep a clean sheet than Spain, actually. 13 goals scored between Belgium and France in the last 3 games. Yeah, that's fair enough. obviously that would make De Bruyne very tempting and Mbappe. But I think just before those last 3 meetings, there were a few 0-0 draws, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, in the 2018 World Cup, it was 1-0 to France in a very cagey game, but things have certainly changed there. I'd go for Morata, Leonardo. I think Yamal is a much better player. He's more exciting, but I'd go for Morata in terms of likelihood of scoring, definitely. I'm going for Musiala, Bungfi. Jake, I did answer your question. I do have 0.5 million left, and I covered that. Don't you fancy ×3 England defenders? I've considered it. I am fancying it a little bit. I think England have the best chance of a clean sheet alongside Portugal potentially. But yeah, look, it's difficult to find the exact balance and, you know, get every 50-50 call right. There's going to be some mistakes in here. I'm just hoping they're not too many. Silva or Fernandes? Fernandes for me, but I like Bernardo Silva still. Going for both would certainly not be out of the question. Yeah, so for me, England, Portugal, Spain. I'd probably put Spain 3rd or 4th in that list. So England first, Portugal second. I think France would still be quite high up there. I know the recent record against Belgium, there have been some goals, but yeah, I think France would be 6th or 7th in that list. I'd probably put the Dutch just behind Spain. And that's what I've got for Verbruggen right now. So yeah, just to recap, Spain, sorry, let's do it in order. So England, Portugal, Spain, the Netherlands. In 5th is quite difficult actually. I'd maybe put Germany there. Thoughts on Pedri for the next 2 match days? Yeah, the thing with Pedri though is his minutes are very uncertain, so he can be subbed off before 60 minutes. We've seen it in this tournament already, and I don't think that attacking midfield role is his best position. I think the best of Pedri is when he plays deeper and everything goes through him, and I also think Nico Williams and Ruiz will get more points, but that's the way I see it. Yeah, Simmons is fine, but I think Gakpo's better. It's pretty much as simple as that. And in the midfield, it's quite a similar logic applies, actually. Baumgartner, Sabitzer, Gundogan, Musiala. There's a lot of midfielders I prefer over him. Ruiz or Nico? I've gone for Ruiz, so. Yeah, I speak Spanish at home. Yeah, the accent is Argentinian. You got that right. It's got like an Italian sort of ring to it, but my accent is kind of a mixture of Argentinian, Italian and English because yeah, English is definitely better for me. I think Walker's a solid choice. Yeah, I have to say, I do, you know, looking back on it, a lot of people were talking about Walker over the last couple of days. He has been good for ball recoveries, to be fair, and I don't mind going for him as an England defender. Maybe. I've gone for a 1-1. I think I'll go to extra time, but let's wait and see what the lineups are. Some questions are being repeated, by the way, despite me answering them, highlighting them. I don't know what more I can do at this point. So if you do spam questions like that, especially after being answered, you will be timed out. So just bear that in mind. Smash the like button if you haven't already. And also, let's get this video to over 300 likes. It'd be massively appreciated. Yeah, if you're just going to spam final team, waiting for, you know, me to put my final team and copy, I mean, you're just going to get banned or, you know, timed out. I already mentioned this a few times. This is my current team. I haven't made any changes. There can be further changes, but I can't guarantee you. You know, I sometimes make leg changes. It's the way I operate, and there's some 50-50 calls, and sometimes it comes down to luck. Just don't spam the chat, otherwise it's a waste of time. If France, I just lost the question, sorry. Let me try to get it up. If France, where the hell are you? I might have lost it actually for good. Oh, here we go. Pavle says, if France game goes to extra time or penalties, they are losing. That's how they lost their last 3 big competitions where they didn't win the whole thing. That's a good spot, to be fair. The thing is, though, they were quite lucky, in my opinion, to go to extra time in the first place against Argentina, but that's football. Saka's a good option. Yes, he is a good option, but not as appealing as he probably was before the tournament started. Yeah, once again, Jake, I don't know how many times I have to answer your question. It does get a bit tiring. Let's see. Let's go for some different questions. Sabitzer or Gundogan? Sabitzer. Your opinion on Simmons? Good way of covering Dutch offensively, but he's only got 1 goal for them, and I think Gakpo and Depay are more appealing. Edelin, Cucurella and Akanji, or Carvajal and Mittelstadt, says Quentin. Great question. I'd probably go for Cucurella and Akanji, though. Very close. Should I swap Kevin De Bruyne for Palmer? I have Ruiz, Bruno, Gundogan, Sabitzer. I wouldn't go for Palmer. I honestly wouldn't. I don't think he starts, and I think it'd be a mistake if England were to go that way. Yeah, Walker's a good choice. I literally just said it a couple of minutes ago. Walker or Cancelo? Cancelo. I'm going with Kyle, Gay, and Pickford. Well, to be honest, for me, they've got the best chance of a clean sheet, so that's fine. I'd go for Bruno Fernandes, mate. I think I've said this before. Mittelstadt or Pepe? I'd go for Pepe there, Luca. Kamasi says, he said Fernandes, Manny. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Harshlinks57 says Gundogan or Sabitzer or Ruiz. Sabitzer for me. Do we expect Trent to start? Also, what if a match ends 0-0 and they score in extra time? No. If a clean sheet is wiped out in extra time, you don't get any clean sheet points. It's as simple as that. Points operate in the same way as they do in normal time, but you don't get, let's say, another appearance point for playing 120 minutes. That's the only thing, and penalty shootouts don't count towards your score, but extra time goals and clean sheet wipeouts will count just like they do in normal time. Prince Izzy says, hey Dylan, Pepe or Ruben Diaz? Definitely Pepe for me. Better value. I think he's superior for ball recoveries, and he's having a great tournament so far. Arnautovic is decent. I could see him scoring against Turkey. My prediction is 3-1 to Austria, but my favourite options are Sabitzer and Baumgartner. Alia says Bruno plays too deep in my opinion. I personally think it's a waste of a pick for such a price. Aren't Bernardo and Cristiano better picks from Portugal? Difficult one. Bernardo Silva arguably, but with Cristiano Ronaldo, he's got 1 5-pointer in there. He obviously got that booking against Georgia, played very poorly in my opinion. I think Bruno Fernandes is more convincing and he's got a higher ceiling than Cristiano Ronaldo at the moment. That's the way I look at it. You might be right about Bruno Fernandes playing a bit too deep for our liking, but he can still create a lot of chances from those positions with those long passes, and I think he's got the most crosses of any player in this Euros tournament with 10. So I understand you raise a valid point, but I'd still put Bruno Fernandes above Cristiano Ronaldo when ranking Portuguese assets. Si Füllkrug es titular, ¿te parece buena opción? Sí, por supuesto, pero para mí hay mejores opciones como Morata, Gakpo, hasta Cristiano Ronaldo, Mbappé. Así que para mí hay mejores opciones, Harry Kane. Pero está bien Füllkrug y está enchufado. Hizo 2 goles en 2 partidos y ni siquiera jugó muchos minutos. Y tiene un récord muy bueno para Alemania. Creo que es 14 goles en 18 partidos, algo así. Do you suggest going for both Gundogan or Musiala or just picking one? I think it's close. I've been debating this problem myself, but I think Denmark are a tough team. It could be maybe not a low-scoring game, but cagey. It can go either way, and it wouldn't surprise me if Denmark took them to extra time, for example. So, yes, I don't mind the double-up, but if I were to go for that midfield duo, I think Spain would be the most appealing for me. Yeah, KDB is still great. I had him since Matchday 2. I've been very happy with him. 2 Player of the Match awards. In fact, actually, I've had him from the beginning, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, De Bruyne is one of the best players in the world. He's been performing very well in this tournament, but I just think the France fixture, it's very likely that Belgium will be knocked out. I'd only go for him if you've got the wild card in your back pocket, or you maybe are so certain about your other picks going through that having the odd pick like De Bruyne in your team won't be a big jeopardy for you going forwards. But who knows, maybe France will still under-deliver and be knocked out, but for me, they'll still get the job done against Belgium. Thank you, Haribo, as always. Hey, Dylan, what are your thoughts on Nuno Mendes over Cancelo? I assume everyone in my mini-league will have Cancelo. Would like to go a bit different. I don't think it's a bad pick, necessarily. Now, in terms of goal contributions, I think Cancelo is far superior, and his record for Portugal is actually very impressive. If I'm not mistaken, he's got around 10 goals, or he's close to getting 10 goals for the national team, and he's also close for double digits in assists. So he is my favourite because of it. But yeah, you've also got Pepe, by the way. If you don't have Pepe already, I'd highly recommend him, even over Nuno Mendes and potentially Joao Cancelo as well. Nick says Kane versus Ronaldo doing my head in. Yeah, so with Ronaldo, of course, he's got the great all-time scoring record. He's got an easier fixture, maybe. I mean, that's definitely debatable. I'd actually say Slovakia is slightly easier than Slovenia, but Portugal look far more convincing going forwards than England. So it's a tough balance to strike. I can see why you're conflicted. I'd personally go for Harry Kane, though. Thoughts on Sabitzer captaincy? That's what I'm looking to do on the final day. It's between him and Gakpo, though. What double up on Spain? Yeah, in the midfield, it'd be Nico Williams and Ruiz, but I'd also wouldn't mind Morata up front and Fabian Ruiz again. Marin for Romania, 2 goals so far. Not a bad choice. It's just with the Netherlands, I have to say, from the top nations, I think the Netherlands are the most likely to be eliminated. Maybe alongside Italy, actually, but I have to say, I think the Netherlands can keep a clean sheet here, and I'm not backing Marin necessarily to score or assist, so it's a good shout. He's been in good form, but I'm going to go elsewhere here. What made you go for Kane over Ronaldo? Obviously, besides the great season he had for Bayern Munich, I just think he's very consistent for England. And in previous Euros tournaments and even the World Cup, he started slowly, a bit like the national team. But then in the round of 16 and the quarterfinals, he started getting some good goals and some healthy hauls. So that's the way I see it with Harry Kane. And with Ronaldo, his overall performances haven't been convincing. At least Kane has scored a goal in this tournament. Ronaldo's got the assist, of course, very unselfish from him to set up Bruno Fernandes. But I don't know, for me, Harry Kane is a much better player. Maybe that's a bit harsh. He is a better player than Ronaldo right now, and I think England will start to click in the round of 16. Claro Dylan, oh, that's in Italian. Now, I can understand some words, but I won't read it. I don't want to butcher the Italian language. A zero in difesa. I think that's something to do with England being defensive, but I don't want to assume too much there, Luis Arias. But ciao, Dylan. Okay, thank you very much. Dylan, do you know if Lenormand is nailed this match? I think he'll start. He was rested, so to speak, in Matchday 3 because he had that suspension risk running over him. If he is booked in Matchday 4, he will miss the quarterfinals. Sabitzer or Fabian Ruiz? Sabitzer. Gakpo or Arnautovic? Will Gakpo score? I think he will. That's why he's in my team. Arnautovic is fine, but I prefer Gakpo. Thank you, Ahmed, for the super chat. Gundogan / Ronaldo or Bellingham Gakpo. Cheers, mate. Very close. They're both good duos, but I'm going to go for Bellingham and Gakpo. That's the way I see it. I've got both of them in my team at the moment. That could change, but yeah, I think that's what I'd lean towards. Aren't you worried about Kvicha, Georgia messing up the clean sheet for Spain? It's possible. Like I said, for me, Spain are probably third in my list in terms of most likely to keep a clean sheet. They haven't conceded a goal in this tournament, it's worth mentioning, although they were a bit fortunate not to against Croatia in Matchday 1. I think Mikauce is the biggest threat. Kvaratskhelia had a great game against Portugal, but besides that, I think he was playing pretty poorly in the first two games. So, yeah, Georgia can score, but you look at the last few results, I think it's a 7-1, a 3-1. I think Spain kept one clean sheet. And then the other game, once again, was a similar scoreline, 3-1 to Spain. So yeah, it's a possibility, and I am considering a triple up in England defensively, and if not, maybe going for another team entirely, like France, for example. So it's not set in stone. Pick one defender between Akanji, Ake, Stones, Walker, Pepe. It'd be Pepe for me. Best midfielder in the England team. It's between Saka and Bellingham, and I'm currently going for Bellingham, so that's my answer. ¿Qué piensas de Foden? Jugó bastante bien en la jornada 3, pero generalmente no estamos viendo la mejor versión de Foden en este torneo. Y para Inglaterra hay algo que no funciona con él comparado con City. Así que entre mediocampistas para Inglaterra, Saka tiene el mejor récord y Bellingham es la estrella, digamos. Así que prefiero esos dos antes que Foden, pero quizás este sea el partido donde Foden anota un gol o que haga algo, por fin, en la selección inglesa. KDB, Gundogan, and Nico Williams or Bruno Fernandes, Baumgartner, and Musiala. Both great trios, I have to say, but I'm going to go for Fernandes, Baumgartner, and Musiala. Dylan, do you know if Lenormand has nailed this match? I just answered that. I think he's going to start. Is he absolutely nailed on? Not necessarily, but I covered that. Gundogan or English mid? Probably English mid in isolation. Hola Dylan, una sugestión. ¿Cambiarás Sabitzer por Gundogan? Quizás, no sé, para mí Sabitzer es una buena opción. También quiero más opciones de diferentes días y para el 1 de julio me gusta Sabitzer como capitán y Baumgartner de Austria también. Mira, con Gundogan es posible que lo ponga en mi equipo al final, pero en este momento estoy bastante contento con los mediocampistas. Lo más probable es que voy a cambiar Bellingham por Baumgartner o Nico Williams. Only one Spain spot left, Fabian Ruiz and Depay or Morata and Simmons. I would go for Fabian Ruiz and Depay. Which one do you prefer? Nico Williams and Morata and Bellingham or Nico Williams, Fabian Ruiz and Gakpo? I'd probably go for Bellingham, Nico Williams, Fabian Ruiz and Gakpo. That's my favourite. Double up on Sabitzer and Baumgartner. I'm considering it. Yeah. Thoughts on Simmons instead of Gundogan if no chips left? I don't mind that so much. I do prefer Gundogan, but I think Xavi Simons has an easier game on paper. So, let's see. Rest in peace, Marlon owners in Matchday 3. Yeah, that was a surprising own goal. Dylan, Morata or Gakpo? I'm going for Gakpo, so it kind of speaks for itself. Someone check Antonio Silva's bank account for that performance against Georgia. Yeah, that was crazy. The worst pick I've had so far in this Euros tournament. Thank you, Ahmed. Awesome. Thanks for the feedback, brother. Thank you very much for the super chat and for the kind words. Good luck in match day 4. If you've got any more questions, let me know and I'll see your comment and answer it. Walker or Pepe? Pepe for me. Karim says Dumfries, or is he a rotation risk? He's a slight rotation risk, but I think he'll start. It's Frimpong that I'm most concerned about. I think Dumfries is fine. Gundogan or English mid, I've covered. Have you considered Bastoni? Yes, but there is a rumour that he's ill. Someone posted a synopsis of what the New York Times reported. But Bastoni is expected to start according to Sky Italia. But either way, we'll find out in 20 minutes' time if he does or not. Have I considered Bastoni? Yes, but I think Akanji's the best player from that particular match in terms of value and ball recoveries. Van Dijk or any French defender? Close one, but I'd probably go for Van Dijk. Gakpo or Kane? Harry Kane. Hi mate, thoughts on not owning Kane and Lukaku for Morata and CR7 Gakpo? Not owning Lukaku, trust me, I'm already there. I'm on that boat. Bye-bye Lukaku. But Harry Kane, I still back to do well. I really do. I know he hasn't had a great tournament so far, but I think he'll start scoring the goals in the round of 16. Palmer punt, once again, I don't think he's going to start. If you think that way and you're really backing him, fair enough, and you might be right, but the way I see it, I don't think he's going to start. Bellingham or De Bruyne? I'm going for Bellingham. If England are indeed to click, are they sacking Southgate tonight? They should have sacked him after the Italy debacle at Wembley in the last Euros. Nah, I don't think they're going to sack Southgate. And look, when I mention the fact that I think England will click, it's for the round of 16 and potentially the quarterfinals. It doesn't mean I think they're going to go on to win it or score goals in every single game and, you know, be free-flowing and play amazing stuff. But I think they can do something like that in the round of 16 with the likes of Kane and Bellingham, Saka, Foden all hauling quite well. I'd go for Pepe there, Nasser. Fernandes or Ronaldo? Fernandes for me. Yeah, no worries, Wei-Sing. Hopefully you got the answer to your question. Is Bellingham an avoid? I said this before the tournament that Bellingham doesn't have a great record for the national team. He's probably the least secure in my squad. Despite being 9.5 million, having a great fixture, that's pretty much the only reason why I've got him. The fact that he's facing Slovakia, I could see him doing well in this particular match. But yeah, he's a bit like Vinicius Jr. for the national team. He doesn't really deliver when it counts, but maybe this will change now. Trent won't start, so just ignore him. Don't go for Trent Alexander-Arnold. If you want a defender, go for Mark Gahey. Then you've got the likes of Walker and Stones, Pickford in goal. Don't go for Trent. It looks like it'll be Kobe Mainoo next to Declan Rice. Mendes nailed on. Relatively speaking, yes, he is the first choice left back, but sometimes Portugal play Cancelo as the left back, or they play Diogo Dalot on the left-hand side with Cancelo sticking as the right back. But yeah, Nuno Mendes is first choice, but not 100% nailed on. Gakpo Morata, you can see the answer on screen, mate. I'm going for Gakpo. Saka versus KDB or Bruno? Bruno Fernandes for me is my favourite. He has played a bit deeper, as someone rightfully mentioned, but I'm still going to go for him, I think. By the way, I'm going to try give a bit of thought to my team soon. But first off, let's go for some predictions, which some people do ask about. So I'm going for 1-1 between Switzerland and Italy, with the first player to score being Mbolo. If he starts, I might change that. 2-1 Germany with Gundogan to score first, and I don't have him in my team, so I'm covering all bases that way. And I've gone for 1-0 England, which maybe goes against what I'm saying about them clicking, but I think I might change that to 2-0, to be honest. That was my original prediction. I'm kind of chopping and changing between those two, but I think I'm going to go for 2-0 England. I think they'll get a bit of confidence now. As for Spain-Georgia, this is another one which I'm not completely convinced about. Yeah, I've got the Joker/booster activated. I've gone for 2-0 Spain, but I am considering a 3-0 or 3-1. I've gone for 2-1 France against Belgium, 2-0 Portugal against Slovenia, 2-1 to the Netherlands against Romania, and 3-1 Austria against Turkey. So for me, the two top nations that could be eliminated, or the most likely to, are Italy and the Netherlands. I think Romania could win on penalties or get the job done. I really do. The other game, maybe which we could see a shock in, possibly Germany-Denmark, but I think the host factor and the way Germany have been attacking, I still think they'll get the job done, but it will be a very close call. It will be similar to the game against Switzerland, but I think Germany will play better than they did the other night. So that is my current set of predictions. Let's see if anything changes. I put a few polls out on my channel as well. And I, first of all, put select your favourite duo for match day 4. and 37% have gone for Nico Williams and Ronaldo. In second place is Bellingham Gakpo, which is what I've gone for right now. In third is Gundogan and Ronaldo, and in last is De Bruyne and Yamal. The other poll I put out is choose one of these midfielders for match day 4. Nico Williams is top with 40%, Gundogan second with 32%. Then we've got Bernardo Silva and Bellingham kind of joint third, but I think Bellingham has slightly more, and De Bruyne is last with just 8% of the votes. It is Kevin De Bruyne, let's not forget that. We will be going for the Italy lineup soon, but DeMarco is ruled out. That is confirmed, and this is their expected lineup. We'll see how accurate Sky Italia are. But usually they are very reliable with the Italy predicted lineups, and they call it a day in advance. So yeah, we'll find out very soon. Maybe we have the lineups already. I'm going to have a quick look right now. But of course, for Germany versus Denmark, we won't get any team news. So don't expect anything there. It'd be very surprising if we were to get that sort of information before the deadline. But let's be sure to keep on smashing the like button and subscribe if you're new. We're going to try and get this stream to over 300 likes if possible. It'd be greatly appreciated. We are very close to 100 already, so let's be sure to get to that milestone and also push on towards 25,000 subscribers. Thank you to all the channel members and patrons, by the way. You're massively appreciated, especially the newest members. So Leandro Amoroso, Nakib Reza on YouTube, and also on the Patreon website, Matt Steen, Juan Miguel Gutierrez, and Liam McKenzie. Thank you very much for joining as channel members. The same goes for, hopefully I haven't, this is a difficult name to pronounce, maybe not, maybe I'm just being a bit dumb, but Mikalaj and Nagib as well on Patreon. Thank you very much for the double support. That is massively appreciated. Tom, Bahamut, JLo, Nikhil Patel, thank you very much for supporting the channel. But let's get straight into business. I'll probably make some changes very soon. If I end up, deciding to make any changes, let's wait and see. Thank you, Kamazi. Much appreciated. No chips left. Is splitting the squad between the two sides of the draw the best way forward? Tough one, because I'd argue the best assets are on the more difficult side of the draw, but they'll be facing each other, and you'll see some eliminations, of course. So it's a question of quality of players and your fantasy assets versus fixtures. I think having a balance is fine, but I'm not sure if necessarily having, let's say, 8 players from one bracket or one side of the bracket and then 7 from the other is exactly the right way to go. Good day, Dylan. Thank you very much, Buffy. Likewise to you. I would go for Sabitzer there, Weiseng. I just think he's more reliable in terms of goals and assists compared to Nico Williams. Maybe, I don't know. Am I really overrating Romania? I'm just saying they have a chance of being the Netherlands, and that's more the Netherlands not being the Netherlands side they were in the last World Cup or in previous international tournaments. If Shaqiri is starting, then RIP Italia. Well, potentially, he's amazing in Euro tournaments, isn't he? Thoughts on Bernardo Silva? I like him a lot. I am considering a double up in Portugal offensively with Bernardo Silva and Bruno Fernandes. That lineup is underwhelming. Well, yeah, look, with Italy, it's not the same Italy as before, but people said this about their squad in Euro 2021. They went on to win it. I don't think they'll do it this time round, of course, but yeah, I can see what you're saying there. Bruno or Vitinha? Definitely Bruno Fernandes for me. Sudip says, hey Dylan, Sabitzer, Morata or Ruiz, Pedri, Depay, Gakpo? I would go for Sabitzer and Morata, but it's very close. El Shaarawy in 2024, yeah. Ruiz or Williams, Fabian Ruiz. Nuno Mendes or Joao Cancelo, Joao Cancelo. Mbappe or Kane, says Paulkus. Close. I'm going to go for Mbappe still, I think. Gakpo or Havertz? Gakpo. And by the way, Mbappe Kane, I'm kind of torn between that one. Yeah, that's really close. But the Gakpo Havertz one, I'm definitely sure about. I'd go for Gakpo. Last time Austria-Turkey played, Austria won 6-1. That is true, and it was back in March. That's a great shout. I put 3-1 in my prediction. Nuno Mendes or Cancelo, yeah. Come on, mate. Fagioli starting, hell nah. Expectation for the top 4? Is this, I'm guessing this is Euros, right? Yeah, so I've gone for me, the most likely win is between Germany or Spain. Whoever wins that game is the most likely to win the Euros. But I've gone for Germany because of home advantage. I've gone for Portugal. And I've gone for England. And I've gone for the Netherlands, I think, yeah. I think that's what I've gone for. But wait, let me actually double check that because I might have made a mistake there. Maybe I've gone for France instead of Portugal or something like that. I need to think about it. Yeah. So I think between Portugal, France, I'm quite conflicted, but with the rest, and obviously Spain, Germany, with the others, I'm a bit more sure. Austria are certainly capable of, I think, of reaching the semi-finals. They can beat the Netherlands again. There's no denying that. Yeah, I saw Matson to Villa. I think it was already reported quite some time ago that it would be the case. Dumfries is fine, but I prefer Verbruggen in goal, Nathan Ake, potentially Van Dijk for ball recoveries. Saka plus Posh or Sabitzer Gay. Ezra says 2 mids from Germany, Wirtz, Gundogan and Musiala, or double up on Spain with Fabian Ruiz and Nico Williams. I think Spain. Pedri or Ruiz? Ruiz for me. Should I spread out 2 to 3 players teams as I have no chips left? Yes, so long as you trust these players and their ability to go through, and not just forcing, diversity, should we say, for the sake of it. But yeah, I think that's not a bad strategy, but it depends on the quality of players you're bringing in. They keep talking about Ruiz and Nico. What about Pedri? He is playing a more attacking role, but I said it earlier, I don't think it really suits him. I think he plays better when he's playing deeper and everything goes through him. I don't know. For me, I prefer Nico Williams, and Fabian Ruiz is the best Spanish midfielder in Euro Fantasy. Hola Dylan, ¿qué opinas de Pedri? Me parece que ha jugado bien y es más ofensivo que Ruiz o Fabian Ruiz. Sí, como dije recién en inglés, Pedri para mí es un jugador muy bueno, pero para mí juega mejor cuando está más atrasado, no, lo dije mal, pero cuando está más... No sé la palabra, qué pelotudo. Pero sí, cuando está jugando en una posición como mediocampista central, no como mediocampista ofensivo, y cuando toda la jugada va por él, porque es muy bueno en controlar el partido y cómo fluye el juego. Así que es lo que pienso yo. Para mí Nico Williams es más, o tiene más posibilidades de anotar goles o hacer asistencias, y también tienes a Fabian Ruiz, que para mí mostró más calidad en frente del gol comparado con Fabian o comparado con Pedri, digamos. Así que es difícil, pero mira, Pedri está bien, es un muy buen jugador, pero yo prefiero a Fabian Ruiz como jugador en Euro Fantasy. Suggest the team I've used, Limitless and Wildcard. It'd be quite similar to this, really, but you'd make a few compromises, maybe not go so heavy. Let's go back to my team. That'd be a good idea. Let's go back to my team here. And yeah, maybe not a double up in Spain defensively. You might want to go for a France defender and kind of balance things out a little bit more. Maybe in the midfield as well. I mean, the midfield's quite balanced, to be fair, but going for Bellingham and Kane at the same time, maybe that's a bit of an issue beyond the round of 16. So yeah, I think it's pretty much... I wouldn't recommend wholesale changes or massive differences, but I certainly would have been recommending, let's say, De Bruyne, for example. If you're kind of backing France to beat Belgium, I'd try to avoid these De Bruyne picks. That might do really well in the round of 16, but ultimately get knocked out for the quarterfinals and beyond. Now, you do get free transfers for Matchday 5, 4 transfers for Matchday 6, and 5 for the final. So it's worth mentioning that as well. Tommy Raw says, hi Dylan, which combination would you go for? 1 second. So I already have Kane up front. Yeah, I'd probably go for Gakpo, Bellingham, Carvajal, which is what I'm going for. It's coming home. Really? I mean, based on the performances, I'd say no. I think England will reach the semi-finals, potentially the final, but I don't think they'll win it. Why Sabitzer? Great record for the Austrian national team, particularly in recent matches. Austria have been very impressive, and they're facing a Turkey side who've considered 12 big chances, I believe. They're conceding in every single game. Luiz leaves Villa and signs for Juventus, while Villa get Baranachea, and Junior joins for free, and now Matson joins them. Yeah, I still think Villa will drop off a little bit, but of course we'll talk about that in FPL, and I think it's probably best to wait for the whole summer transfer window to pan out first. Like I said, Kafel, there could be changes. This is my current squad, but I might make a few moves. Bellingham and Mendes or Saka and Cancelo? Bellingham and Mendes, but it's quite close. Actually, you know what? I'd go for Saka and Cancelo, but it's really 50-50. 2 mids from Germany. I did cover your question, Ezra. I went for 2 Spanish midfielders. Should I spread out 2 to 3 players teams? I covered. So yeah, some questions are being repeated. Goalkeepers to cover. The Georgian. Goalkeeper to cover. Well, on the same day, I'd recommend Pickford or Unai Simon, one of those two. But on different days, my favourite is probably Verbruggen or Diogo Costa. So one of those 4 options could, well, it does definitely fit your answer and probably finalises your squad. Hey Dylan, Rice a good option? Yeah, I think so. In terms of ball recoveries, he kind of offers you that baseline of 4 to 5 points per match day. Ersan says, hi Dylan, planning to make difference in my league, have wildcard for match day 5. So Kane, Gakpo, Ronaldo, Bellingham, Ruiz, Nico Williams, Simons, Bruno Fernandes, Van Dijk, Cancelo, Gehi, Ake, Carvajal, Pickford and Diogo Costa. Looks really good to me, to be fair. And yeah, you've got the wildcard in place for match day 5. It depends, Ezra, because you might have more eliminated players than you expect in match day 5, or you're really happy with your team. So for me, the best time for most people would be match day 5, but it could easily be match day 6. I'll be using the wildcard in one of those match days. It's just a question of when, and I'm open-minded. Yeah, Ndoye's a shout, but he's only got 1 goal in 14 games for Switzerland, and I think Italy will still be quite tough to beat. Is Gordon starting or Eze instead of Foden? No, Foden's going to start, I think. I know he went away because of personal reasons, then he came back to the squad the other day, but I think Foden starts. I think the big change we'll see is Kobe Mainoo for Gallagher. Yeah, I don't mind that. The thing with Baumgartner is he's less nailed on, as we saw in match day 3. I might even go for both, to be honest. This is talent right here, says, okay, thank you. Sí, recaudo, sí, creo que eso es el término, gracias. Vin2411 says, hi Dylan, good day to you. Who do you think will become the champ? I think Germany or Spain, but it's difficult to predict because I think with the Euros, there wasn't really a standout going into this tournament, and you can't judge too much from group stages because if we look at the last World Cup, everyone said, oh, Brazil are going to win it, and then, oh, England are going to win it, and then Spain, I think after their first win, everyone said Spain are going to go far. Football's full of surprises, right? And you need the luck of the draw, you need a bit of luck during games, but yeah, I'd say one of Germany or Spain look the most likely. Sí, gracias, Telmo. I'll go for the lineups now, Badgeraz, thank you. Any attacker worth taking from Austria other than Sabitzer and Baumgartner? Probably Arnautovic for me. Hi Dylan, I've been watching Copa America. Messi's injured, hope you'll be back for the quarterfinals. What do you think about doubling up on England defence instead of Spain or Portugal? Yeah, I've been staying up until late watching Argentina. Watched a few other games here and there, but yeah, with Messi, I don't think the injury is serious. He's going to be rested now against Peru tonight, and he's got a week basically until the quarterfinals to be ready, and hopefully Argentina can secure top spot. But in terms of your question for Euro Fantasy, I'd rather double up on England defensively. Yeah, the way I'd rank it is England first, Portugal second, Spain third for the round of 16. Tonali's returning in August. Yeah, the betting goat. That's a weird way of putting it, but yeah, I actually forgot about that. Yeah, Sky Italia's lineup is spot on. Thank you, Badgeraz. So let's go through the UEFA website and let's see Switzerland's lineup as well. So let's go through the Swiss lineup first. So in goal, we've got Sommer, Fabian Schär, Akanji, and Ricardo Rodriguez, Abischer, Freuler, Xhaka, and my essay's crap, Ryder, with Vargas, Embolo, and Ndoye. So no Shaqiri, he'll probably be an impact sub. And Italy have the exact same starting 11 that I showed you by Sky Italia. They are a very reliable source when it comes to Italy. So Donnarumma between the sticks with Damian, Bastoni, Mancini, Di Lorenzo, Barella, Fagioli, Cristante, El Shaarawy, Chiesa, and Scamacca up front with only 1 goal in 17, 18 appearances for the Italian national team. Let's see if he can add a second tonight. But those are the lineups for Switzerland, Italy. And by the way, normally I like to stay about and chat beyond the deadline, but today I will have to cut. I've got some commitments that I need to attend to, so just bear that in mind. But for the next hour or so, I'm here answering your questions, and I've already answered a lot already. So be sure to smash the like button, subscribe for new, and show support to the channel if you enjoy the content. Those are the lineups. No surprises really. Nothing really worth noting. Of course, Wimmer is suspended, which I covered already. That's why he's not in the starting 11. Wimmer? I think I got that right. No. I think I might have got them confused. Just give me a second. No, Wimmer's from Austria is Widmer. Yeah, I have had a feeling I got that wrong. So Widmer is the one who is suspended for the Swiss, and Calafiori is out for Italy due to suspension. 2 yellow cards, and you miss the next game. And the yellow cards are actually wiped out after match day 4 as we approach the quarterfinals. So let's go back to my team. Am I going to change anything? So I've been saying this all stream, but I could go for Unai Simon instead of Pickford. That's one possible change. Diogo Costa in for Verbruggen. Also in the defence, maybe John Stones or Walker in for Carvajal or Cucurella. Anything else really? I'm quite happy with the rest of it. In the midfield, I'm considering Nico Williams instead of Bellingham, or maybe De Bruyne, Gundogan. They're all crossing my mind. As for the attackers, I think Cristiano Ronaldo and I'd probably say Morata. They're the ones that really intrigue me as well up front. Bernardo Silva in the midfield also is an enticing option. So, yeah, there could be a few changes, but I doubt I'm going to make all the changes I just described at the same time. But a few of them are possible. Getting one lucky performance against Portugal, and people are now, well, to be fair though, he actually was really good in Matchday 2. He was man of the match, so I disagree with that respectfully. Now, one thing I have noticed with that goalkeeper, I'm going to try not to say his name for the sake of butchering it, but he either has a great game or a terrible game. We've seen that over the years with Valencia, so we could see a stinker coming against Spain, for example. It has happened before in recent meetings, but he's still a good goalkeeper. Which chip is best to use? You can't use any in Matchday 4 because you have unlimited transfers. If you've got both the Wildcard and Limitless, my suggestion is use the Limitless in Matchday 5 and the Wildcard in Matchday 6. Who has taken penalties for each team? I covered this in the predicted lineups video on podcast. So yeah, I think obviously it was some time ago. We can obviously talk about the teams as we go along. With England, of course, it's Harry Kane. For Spain, I think it should be Rodri. Germany is Gundogan with Kai Havertz second in command. For Switzerland, I'll actually get the list now because there's a few that I've kind of forgotten about, and there has been some changes to the lineups, for example. So let me just get this up. Okay, so yeah, Germany, it should be Gundogan. Switzerland, Shaqiri when he's on the pitch. Otherwise, you've got Xhaka or Ricardo Rodriguez on penalties. For Spain, Rodri first, then Ferran Torres second. For Italy, Raspadori, Jorginho and DiMarco in that order, but none of them are in the starting 11 tonight, so I honestly don't know who's going to be this. Probably Scamacca, I'd say, would be the starting or the main penalty taker. As for England, obviously it's Harry Kane. That's quite simple, and I think Saka would probably be second. As for Denmark, it should be Christian Eriksen. For France, it's Mbappe with Griezmann in second. For Austria, it's Sabitzer, then Arnautovic. For the Netherlands, it's between Van Dijk or Depay. And to be fair, the same applies for Austria, I think. It could be Arnautovic instead of Sabitzer. As for Belgium, it is Lukaku, then Trossard. For Romania, it's Marin and then Stanciu. For Portugal, it's obviously Cristiano Ronaldo, then Bruno Fernandes. And then for Turkey, Çalhanoğlu is the first choice penalty taker. And for Georgia, it's Mikhailse, who has 2 penalty goals already, and he's the top scorer of Euro 2024. So that pretty much covers all of it. Welcome, Angel Gashaga. Good to see you. Yamal and Nico, or Morata and Ruiz. I'd go for Morata and Ruiz, but they're both good duos. Going all in on England defence, good strategy. Who to replace Kane with except Gakpo and Ronaldo? Well, you pretty much named the 4 best strikers besides Harry Kane, in my opinion. You could maybe go for Yamal, maybe, or a Havertz/Füllkrug. I think those would entice me a little bit. Apart from that, I'd probably say Yamal or Arnautovic. I'm going for Sabitzer right now, but I think Baumgartner could really come in. I might go for both of them at the same time. I think Dumfries with a 7% ownership is worth the risk of not starting. Yeah, look, don't get me wrong, the ceiling is high. He's done very well in previous international tournaments, so I'm not against that. Why Ruiz over Williams? Well, for me, he's been playing very well in the 2 games, and Nico Williams doesn't have a great goals or assist record for Spain anyway. Fabian Ruiz also has ball recoveries in his favour. That's why I've gone for him. Well, I mentioned De Bruyne already, mate. De Bruyne is a great option, but he's facing France, and for people who don't have the wildcard or limitless, that could be a problem going into Matchday 5 and beyond. Was bottom of my league after Game Week 1, but now top going into the last 16. Appreciate the insights. Good luck, mate. That's great to hear, Righty. Thank you very much for that, and I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the tournament. Hi Dylan, it's been a while. Glad to see you. Do you prefer Gundogan or Simmons? I prefer Gundogan, and likewise, it's good to see you again. Georgian defenders are ball recovery monsters. Yeah, I think before the tournament started, I mentioned Cassia as a good choice, but really, if I'm being honest for Matchday 4, I think most people expect Spain to score 2 or 3 goals, right? So even if Cassia gets some ball recovery points, you're pretty much looking at 2 to 4 points maximum. Now, he's only 4 million, right? And you're right to point out that they're underrated, but I just don't see Georgia keeping Spain out. Baumgartner over Sabitzer, been asked this quite a lot, and I have covered it, so hopefully you got the answer. Yeah, teams are out. We covered them. If you rewind a little bit, you'll see the 2 lineups on screen. Foden having 3 kids at 24 is... Yeah, well, look, everyone's different, right? I'm not going Kane, says Khan. Fair enough. You don't need to. So Sabitzer, no matter what for this match day? I wouldn't say no matter what, but I think I'm very set on getting 1 Austrian midfielder. I might even go for 2 of them. Yeah, of course De Bruyne is a good pick. I had him from the beginning. I might still go for him in the end, and I don't really trust England offensively. I think they will start to turn things around a little bit, but yeah, there's still time for me to change things. Why Paqueta's still not getting banned yet? I'm not so sure, but yesterday he did everything, didn't he? He got a yellow card, penalty miss, penalty goal, and an assist. Hi Dylan, 4 Spanish players, good option in your opinion? Yes. The thing with Spain though, I think their best Euro fantasy assets are in the defence, actually, with Carvajal and Cucurella. Then you've got Morata up front, you've got Yamal, you've also got Nico Williams, Fabian Ruiz, Rodri, but I don't think they have a consistent scorer or assister in their team, which makes it quite difficult to nail down the exact midfielders or forwards to go for. But yeah, I think 4 is fine. The Copa America has potential to be the last thing Paqueta plays in. Yeah, possibly. Akanji versus Koundé. For the round of 16, I'd probably say Akanji, but Koundé is also a ball recovery machine, and honestly with Belgium, they really rely on De Bruyne. If he doesn't have a good game, I don't really see how they're going to score. Good to see you, Beardy. Morata versus Gakpo. I'm going for Gakpo personally, but Morata is a good choice. Hi Dylan, why do you prefer Ruiz over Williams? I just covered that, by the way, so hopefully you got it, Venceslav, but ball recoveries is one of the main reasons. Also, Nico Williams isn't great for goals or assists. I might still go for him, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I'm very tempted by going for 2 Spanish midfielders, but Nico Williams isn't the most prolific goal scorer. He's more of an assister and a dribbler, and he hasn't got any goal contributions in this Euros tournament so far. Andrew says, really like your channel and your knowledge seems impressive and accurate. A genuine good source for help on the fantasy football. Thank you, kind sir, for your good advice and knowledge. Thank you very much for your kind words. Much kinder than what I am, basically. I'm an absolute bastard, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. One of his bad games was against Barca last season. He got sent off. Is this about... Oh, Paqueta. Wait, Paqueta? No, who are you about? Probably Nico Williams, right? Mamardashvili. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I just didn't want to butcher it. Look, for example, when I was looking at the suspended players, I was looking at how to pronounce all the names correctly. But, you know, with that English side to me, it's quite difficult, you know. Di Lorenzo, good shout. I'll be honest, I wouldn't go for him. He's great in UCL fantasy for Napoli, but a lot of Italians just despise this guy. He's been playing poorly for Italy. I think Bastoni's the best Italian defender. For some French defenders, they're still fine. Koundé, Saliba, even Upamecano, take your pick. They're all good for ball recoveries. And of course, Theo Hernandez is the most exciting. But yeah, that fixture against Belgium is enough to put most people off. I think Arnautovic took a pen against Poland. Yeah, you're right. Because that's what I was thinking. Was Sabitzer on the pitch at the time? And I think you're correct. So yeah, I think Arnautovic is first and Sabitzer's second. Thank you, Dylan. Great content. Good luck. And let's have fun. Hopefully. And I appreciate the kind words. Thank you for the great questions and comments. Don't leave the changes to the very last minute. Well, it's just how I am, right? Sometimes I'm focused on the questions that I'm getting, and then I realize, oh, I've only got 10 minutes left, and then I start thinking, overthinking, and making changes. Great work as usual, Dylan. Please pick a player to avoid buying from Nico Williams, Gundogan, Musiala, Bellingham, and Sabitzer. In isolation, I think Nico Williams is the worst pick, but the fixture does even things out, and that's why I think it's between Gundogan and Nico Williams for that final midfielder slot. I'll be honest, if I were to go for one of those midfielders, I think Nico Williams is more likely, purely for the Georgia fixture. So I'd probably say Gundogan is the one to drop, but it does pay me to say it because he's had a good tournament, he's on penalties, and he's also just a threat in terms of goals and assists. Saka and Gundogan or Bellingham and Højbjerg? Saka and Gundogan for me, but Højbjerg's good. I said it from Matchday 1, people were like, Højbjerg? What are you smoking? But he's actually been quite good for me. Yeah, Abisha is okay as a punt. I don't mind going for 2 or 3 players from today. Switzerland, Italy is so tough to call though, and I don't see a clean sheet for either side. But if you ask me who's going to score, I'd be just very perplexed about who to answer. It could be random players. It could be Di Lorenzo for all we know, you know, Abisha himself. But yeah, I think he's fine. In terms of Swiss assets, he's one of the best ones, but Akanji is my personal favourite. This is my current team. I might make changes. Don't copy. That's all I can say. Stones, Walker, Mittelstadt. Who do I pick? I've been saying for the last couple of days that Stones is my preference over Walker, but Walker is slightly better for ball recoveries in this Euros tournament. He does cost 0.5 million more though, so it's quite close, but I'm going to stick with Stones. Austrian midfielders over German. I'd still go for one German midfielder, but I'm more likely to go for 2 Austrian midfielders than 2 German. Yeah, that is true. Omara says, hello Dylan, my team is Ronaldo, Mbappe, Chiesa, Kvaratskhelia, Wirtz, Gundogan, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Gay, Mittelstadt, DeMarco, Sommer, Diogo Costa, Akanji, Bruno Trossard. So Omara, you have unlimited transfers. You can use them, of course. DeMarco isn't in the team. He's out with an injury. That was confirmed yesterday, so get rid of DeMarco. I'd also get rid of Trent. I don't think he's going to start. It will likely be Kobe Mainoo next to Declan Rice. And the other one that I'm not sure about, Trossard might not even start, to be honest. I do like your picks, by the way, in general, but Kvaratskhelia against Spain, I'd go elsewhere. I'm personally backing Spain to win. They might concede a goal, but I'm going for a 2-0 scoreline at the moment in my prediction. But yeah, the rest looks great. I have to say that. Chiesa, I'm a bit unsure about, to be honest. He is starting today, of course, but I'd get rid of Chiesa, Kvaratskhelia, Trent, DeMarco, and Trossard. The rest is fine. You don't really need to change them, but I'd change those 5 for sure. Yeah, Akanji is a good option. Very good for ball recoveries. Switzerland haven't kept a clean sheet in this tournament so far, and I think Italy will still score despite that weak lineup on paper. Yeah, Bastoni and Ake are good picks. In terms of ball recoveries, Bastoni is better, but then you have Ake with the assist threat, which he showed in Matchday 1. Trippier or Walker? I'd go for Walker. Dylan, De Bruyne or Bellingham? I'm going for Bellingham right now. I think De Bruyne is a better asset overall, but the fixture is much tougher. Yeah, look, a Swiss mid like Abisha could be good. Even Xhaka for Player of the Match awards. He's got so many in his career in the Euros. But yeah, I don't mind that. Ronaldo or Yamal? Probably Ronaldo. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. Barella's okay, but there's better midfielders elsewhere. Brighton appointed some 35-year-old American. Yeah, the youngest manager in the Premier League. We'll wait and see. We'll give him a chance. I think he's got something about him. Best English mid? In terms of record for the national team, yeah, Saka's the best one, but I just think Bellingham is the most likely to score or assist in this particular match. Do Barella or Kvaratskhelia feel like good differentials to you? I think they're decent, but based on the fixtures, I think you can get better. Nico Williams, you could also go for Fabio Ruiz, Bernardo Silva. Yeah, I think so. Is Rice a good differential? Yeah, I think with ball recoveries, he kind of guarantees you 4 to 5 points. Pick 2, Pedri, Williams and Ruiz. Williams and Fabian Ruiz. I like Pedri a lot, by the way, but I wouldn't go for him. Mikhail says had a great tournament so far, but 2 penalties, of course, to boost the scores. And I don't think... Look, Georgia could score against Spain, but my prediction is 2-0. Looks like Raum, Sane and Fulkrug starting instead of Mittelstadt, Havertz and Wirtz. Raum, yeah, I saw someone mention that about David Raum starting over Mittelstadt, so that is a shame. For those that have Mittelstadt, just reconsider. Maybe he's not a safe pick. So that's something to think about. Jonathan Tah is obviously suspended. Yeah, that's interesting. Fulkrug could be a great option, though. Bellingham or Musiala? I still prefer Musiala, to be honest. Also, Mittelstadt. Well, so long as he starts, he's a good option, but there is a chance that David Raum takes his place, and I'll try to see that myself. ¿Cuándo usarás el comodín? Bueno, yo voy a usar el comodín, sí, en la jornada 5, creo. Si no, en la jornada 6. Sí, lo más probable es que lo voy a usar para los cuartos de final en la jornada 5. So you back Netherlands to go far? Well, I got the wild card to use a Matchday 5 or 6, as I just mentioned in Spanish, so not really too concerned. Musiala or Gundogan as captain? I prefer Musiala. Kvaratskhelia is now open to score. He was under his idol Ronaldo's spell. Yeah, well, he scored and Ronaldo didn't, so maybe he took his powers or something. Ndoye brace incoming. I'd be surprised, to be honest, because he's got 1 goal for Switzerland in his entire international career, which came against Germany. But he looked very impressive in that game, it has to be said. I prefer Bellingham over Gundogan SG for this match day. Yeah, Lobotka's fine. A bit like Declan Rice. Ball recoveries is pretty decent, but yeah, with Lobotka, I think you can get better options in the midfield. Mittelstadt or Van Dijk, Dumfries, Ake. I'd go for a Dutch defender. My favourite is probably Nathan Ake. Lenormand or Mittelstadt? Probably Lenormand. How many points is your minimum to keep a captain? To be honest, with the way this tournament is going, I think one return is enough for me. I changed it in match day 3, where I had Mbappe captain. Going into the last day, I changed it to De Bruyne. Luckily, the player of the match award saved me. But yeah, it's just, I think one return's enough for me. Pedri or Ruiz? Ruiz. I'd go for Cancelo there, Andre. Yeah, it looks like Fulkrug is going to start. Now, it could be alongside Kai Havertz, or he starts directly up front and they don't go for 2 strikers, like someone mentioned just a few minutes ago. I'm not so sure about that. I still think Germany are good, but I don't think you need to have 3 or 4. They're facing Denmark, who are a good team. I have money. That means I should go for Mittelstadt to Rudiger. Just to be on the safe side, I'd say so. And you've also got the ball recoveries. As I mentioned earlier, I think Mittelstadt was more essential or a better pick for the group stages. But now with that 5 million increase in your budget, I don't think he's as important as before. I'd go for Ake. Musiala or Ndoye for day 1 captain? I'd go for Musiala, but Ndoye's fine. When I said he got sent off against Barca, I meant the Georgian goalkeeper. Fair enough, fair enough. Barella or Xhaka? Xhaka. Bruno or Ruiz? Is that Bruno Fernandes? If so, I'm going to go for Bruno Fernandes. Morata or Kane or Fulkrug? Kane. What do you think of Morata and Yamal in the starting 11? I'm not against that whatsoever. In fact, one of them could make it into my final team, and I think Morata's more likely. But Yamal's a top talent. I like that. Fulkrug or Yamal? I'd still go for Yamal. I still think Denmark are going to cause problems. I've gone for 2-1 Germany, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it went to extra time. Sane if he starts, or Gundogan? Still Gundogan for me. For captaincy, would you do Kane, Mbappe and Gakpo? I'm probably going for Bruno Fernandes over Mbappe. Thoughts on Bernardo Silva? Good option. I prefer Bruno Fernandes, but I think Bernardo Silva's a nice differential, and I wouldn't mind doubling up on Portugal offensively. Yeah, Xhaka could work today, but you're kind of relying on a ball recovery point and player of the match awards. Why avoiding Germany defenders? I think Denmark are good. I also don't trust Germany that much defensively. And I think Portugal, Spain, England and Netherlands are more likely to keep a clean sheet in matchday 4. Kante or Gundogan? Both good, but I go for Gundogan. Which Portuguese defenders besides Cancelo? Definitely Pepe. Phobia says Chiesa plus Ruiz or Morata and Barella. I would go for Morata and Barella, but I'm not a big fan of either duo. And really it's the Italian players I don't trust. I like the Spanish ones. Morata or Yamal? Morata. Who'll win top scorer spot? Own goal? I honestly don't know, to be honest. It's quite difficult to predict, but I think that's a good question. I think one of Kane, Mbappe, or Gakpo, really? I think Gakpo could be a shout, actually. I'm going to say one of Kane or Mbappe still, which was my prediction going into this tournament. Maybe Havertz at left back. Who knows at this point? What do you think about going for Gakpo and Depay? Well, Depay has a great record for the Netherlands, and Romania is a fixture to be targeted on paper. But Gakpo for me is the one to go for if you had to pick one. That's what I'm going for at the moment. But Depay is still decent. He's had a bad tournament so far, but he can still score the goals. No, we won't do the Germany lineup. There are rumours circulating from reliable sources. I think David Raum will start over Mittelstadt, Fulkrug over Kai Havertz, and there's another key change. But yeah, we won't know the exact lineup for sure until 7 PM UK time. Bastoni is a good option. Yeah, I think so. The best from Italy by far. I covered your question, Ivans. I covered it. Amara Limitless and Wildcard says, Joanna, any teams to avoid apart from Italy and Switzerland? I'd personally avoid Slovakia, Slovenia, Georgia. Unfortunately, I think I'd avoid them. They have a great goalkeeper in this tournament. Obviously, Kvaratskhelia is talented, and Mikhailse has had a great campaign so far. But I'd avoid those teams. And also, yeah, I think those are the teams I'd avoid. Foden or Saka? To be honest, I think both of them are quite likely to be subbed for the likes of Gordon and Cole Palmer. But I think Saka's slightly more secure in terms of minutes, and he's a better option for England. Yeah, Austrian defender's a good shout. There is one that I need to just kind of brush my knowledge up on a little bit. So yeah, just give me a second. Let's go to the transfer section. So there are a few changes that I could make, but let's have a look and answer your question. So my favorite Austria defender would be Mueni, but unfortunately he is a bit of a rotation risk, and I think he had a bit of a problem recently, so that is a bit concerning. But yeah, Mueni would be my favorite if he starts, but let's wait and see if that is the case. So let's see what changes I could make. So maybe John Stones in for Carvajal and go all in on England. That is a possibility. Get rid of Bellingham and then go for Baumgartner, Gundogan, Nico Williams. I'm certainly considering it. You know what? I think I'm going to go for this right now. Now, I don't trust Nico Williams that much in terms of goals and assists, but I'm kind of hoping this is his breakthrough game in terms of goal contributions on the big stage. So yeah, I think the most likely change I'm going to make is Bellingham out for Nico Williams. And if I keep things the same, I'd have 3 million left in the bank, which is a lot. And then you probably say, just buy Ronaldo for Gakpo, which might be the play. But I do like Gakpo. I think he's playing very well in this tournament. And I still think the Netherlands can score against Romania, even if they are eliminated. So be sure to like the video if you haven't already. We do have just under 40 minutes left. Let's get this stream to over 300 likes, and let's keep on pushing towards 25,000 subscribers. Let me actually check how we're doing in terms of that. So yeah, in terms of the goal to 25k, we are just under 400 subscribers away. So let's try to get as close as possible to 25,000 and reach that by the end of the Euro tournament. That would be massive. I'd be very, very happy with that. But let's focus on match day 4 and finalizing our teams. And I have to say, yeah, I think 1 or 2 changes are possible, but I'm quite happy with the overall structure of my 15-man squad. Ronaldo or Fernandes, I would go for Bruno Fernandes. Schlotterbeck should start in match day 4, but once Jonathan Tah is back from suspension, that won't be the case. Kane and Ruiz or Bellingham and Morata. Probably Kane and Ruiz for me, but it's quite close. Kane or Gakpo, I would go for Kane. Rabiot or Sabitzer? Sabitzer. Leo, where did I say that Gundogan isn't a good option? I'm just wondering where I said that. I never said that at all. For me, he is a good option, but I prefer Musiala. Gundogan or Musiala as captain, I would go for Musiala. Wirtz or Gundogan? Gundogan. There is a rumour that Wirtz could be benched, so just bear that in mind. Which team may be a match upset besides France versus Belgium? I think the Netherlands could be knocked out by Romania. I really do. Now, the point of surprise is that no one expects them, right? So who knows? Maybe England come crashing out. Denmark could beat Germany, but I think the most likely would be Romania beating the Netherlands. And it could be 0-0, and then it goes to penalties, extra time, and then Romania get the job done. De Vrij or second English defender or second Spanish defender? I would go for a second English defender. Kane out, Gakpo in. Not for me, but I like Gakpo a lot. I'd go for Pepe there, Diogo. Do Bruno and Bernardo make sense together? Yeah, I think it does. I really do. Trippier, Walker or Stones? Stones for me, but it has to be said, Walker has been the best in terms of ball recoveries compared to his Man City counterpart. There is a 0.5 million difference in price, which could be helpful elsewhere, but I think a lot of people are kind of struggling to use all their budget anyway. So, you know what? I'm going to go for Walker, if money is no issue. Really doubting between Morata and Gakpo. I can see why, but I'm going for Gakpo. Just 1 second. I'm gone. Gakpo, Morata and Ronaldo. It's a great front three, to be fair. Bastoni is probably the best Italian asset. I also like Akanji from the first game of match day 4. But I'm not a big fan of other Italian players, especially in the midfield and forward line. 1. Carvajal has a yellow. Yeah, true. There are a few suspension risks. Mark Gay is another one. But I do have the wild card in my back pocket. Griezmann was benched in match day 3. He was quite underwhelming in Matchday 2 as well, but if he starts, he's always got a chance of doing well, particularly, I'd say, in some of these bigger games in the quarterfinals and round of 16, but I think there are better options elsewhere. Mittelstadt could be benched, Mohamed, and I'm also quite happy not to go for any German defenders. I think Denmark could score. I don't like Menu as a Euro fantasy option. I like him a lot as a player. He's got so much potential, but I think in terms of ball recoveries, you could find better elsewhere. Goals and assists, you can certainly find much better. Cancelo or Carvajal? Cancelo. Well, with Unai Simon, I've already got Pickford, and if I go for Unai Simon as well, they both play on the same day. So, yeah, if they played on different days, I'd be happy to go for Unai Simon over Verbruggen, but that's not the case. ¿Qué piensas de Stanciu o Marin de Romania? Pase lo que pase, creo que ambos equipos anotarán. Sí, es posible. Yo puse 2-1 en mi predicción para Holanda. Mientras tanto, tengo Verbruggen en mi equipo, pero bueno, es lo que es. Sí, Stanciu está bien, y también Marin con 2 goles en este torneo, y también es primero con los penales. Pero con Rumania, otra vez, no tengo mucha confianza en esos jugadores comparado con Baumgartner, Sabitzer, Fabian Ruiz, Nico Williams y muchos otros mediocampistas que muestran mucha calidad. Is there a chance for rotation between Simon and Raya? I don't think so. Not at this stage. Akanji or Mittelstadt? Akanji. Just 1 second. Apologies for this. All right. Nailed Spanish defenders. Cucurella, Carvajal. I think they're quite nailed on in the grand scheme of things. And also Laporte. I think they're all going to start. Now, I do think Lenormand will start, but he's not as nailed on as the others, I'd say. Morata for Gakpo. Also Gundogan over Ruiz. It's fine, but I'm personally going for Gakpo at the moment. Best goalkeeper duo if budget is not an issue. One of Pickford or Unai Simon with Diogo Costa, I guess. It's just I've already gone for Cancelo and Pepe, and I don't want to triple up on Portugal defensively. I'm going for Gakpo right now. What do you think about Ake? Good option, but there are better elsewhere. Mejor momento para usar comodines si no lo has usado. La jornada 5 para los cuartos de final. Y si no, la jornada 6 para los semifinales. Para mí son los mejores tiempos para usar el comodín. Sí, el wildcard. Rudiger. Yeah, in terms of German defenders, he's my favourite. Best 5 midfielders, please. Well, probably the ones I'm going for on screen. I mean, yeah, if I wouldn't... Yeah, it kind of speaks for itself. It's probably my top 5 midfielders. If budget was no issue, of course, then you can go for De Bruyne, but there is no limitless to use in Matchday 4. Ake or Van Dijk? Ake. Fabian Ruiz or Gundogan? Fabian Ruiz. Kane, Havertz, Morata? Kane. Havertz could be benched, just bear that in mind. Marcel puts his team. What would you change? It's a good team, to be fair. What would I change? Not much. Maybe Magnan, but you're getting that French coverage, which could be decent. Yeah, I think I'd change Magnan because you've got Theo Hernandez already. And even if you're correct and, you know, France keep the clean sheet, going forwards, you might have issues, especially with no wildcard or limitless, which I don't know if you have them or not, but it's worth mentioning. I'd probably change Magnan. The rest looks great. Why Sabitzer over Baumgartner? I've gotten this question before, but just to summarise, he's a bit more nailed on. He's got a good record for Austria, particularly in recent matches. Just like Baumgartner, I might go for both. End of. Lenormand and Magnan or Verbruggen and Carvajal. Verbruggen and Carvajal. Thank you, Ivan. Fabian Ruiz or Gundogan, I've covered. Van Dijk versus Rudiger. Van Dijk. Cancelo or Pepe? Probably Pepe, actually. Yeah. Jeffrey to go says, have Musiala, Nico Williams and Sabitzer and wildcard. Would you add Fabian Ruiz, Baumgartner or Gundogan? Maybe Baumgartner. As an attacking option, a bit risky, but I think it's a high risk, high reward. I wouldn't go for Kai Havertz. There's a chance he's benched. Fabian Ruiz or Nico Williams? Fabian Ruiz for me. Yeah, German defenders are still good, but for me, Portugal, Spain, England, maybe there's another team as well that has a better chance of a clean sheet, but yeah, with Germany, they're not one of my favourite teams to keep a clean sheet in this match day, let's put it that way. I think the Dutch as well, more likely. Costa better than Magnan? For match day 4, yes. I don't think Frimpong's going to start. and he's a constant rotation risk. Ake or Pepe? Pepe. Mittelstadt or Van Dijk, taking a punt on a Kanji? Van Dijk. Carvajal and Bernardo or Pepe and Gundogan? Pepe and Gundogan. Yeah, I think Pence is okay, but in my prediction, I've got 3-1 Austria. I think Turkey will score, but I could see Austria scoring a buckload of goals and creating so many chances. It's possible, Debraj. This is not locked in. I haven't made the transfer yet, but it's quite likely. I think Bellingham is just someone that doesn't really fill me with confidence. The only reason I've gone for him in the first place is because I look at that fixture against Slovakia and I could see Bellingham scoring in this game because it's a weak opposition, so to speak, and I could see England upping the tempo a little bit and getting a few more goals and chances created. Not really, because I've got the wild card in my back pocket, to be fair. But what I might do is get rid of Carvajal and go for a John Stones and go all in on England. That's something I could do. Thank you, Dark Void. Rodri, Williams, Ruiz. I would go for Ruiz. Yeah, El Shaarawy is starting. I'm not sure about him being a good differential. I haven't seen him for Italy in a long time, so I'll reserve judgment, to be fair. I think there are much better options elsewhere. I'm looking at Switzerland-Italy as one of the most likely games to go all the distance to extra time and penalties, and 1-1 is my current prediction. My defence is Gay, De Vrij, Cucurella, Lenormand, Koundé. Any changes? It's a solid team. One player I'd recommend, though, is Pepe, if you can. How do you say you thought Kante could score high against Belgium? Why did you drop him? Well, it's not necessarily a case of dropping him. I don't think I had him in my drafts at all. I'll double check that, but I don't think I had Kante at any point. So the reason why I'm not going for Kante is because I think there are better midfielders elsewhere with more attacking potential, like Baumgartner and Savitzer, Nico Williams as well. And in terms of ball recoverers, I think Fabian Ruiz offers that and attacking potential, which Kante doesn't really. So that's really the reason why. I could see Kante getting 4 or 5 points against Belgium, but not really more than that, unless he gets the Player of the Match award. Mittelstadt or Lenormand? Probably Lenormand, based on the rumours of Mittelstadt being benched. Carvajal, Gay, and others have yellow cards. Yes, I know that. It's not a big deal. Pepe, Ake, Bastoni, or Akanji? Pepe. Ruiz or Pedri? Ruiz. I'm not saying Mittelstadt won't start, but it's a possibility that some reliable outlets have discussed, so it's worth mentioning. If your players go through, would you consider using wildcard in the semis? Yeah, exactly. So the wildcard is there to be used in either matchday 5 or 6. I'm open-minded. At the moment, it seems more likely to be deployed in matchday 5, but things can change. Bellingham or Nico Williams? Well, I'm kind of torn between the two, and also I bring in others like Baumgartner, for example, who I've been talking about from the beginning of this tournament. I'm going for Savitzer right now, Benita. Gundogan, De Bruyne, Bellingham, or Swiss mid? Bellingham. Back any French defenders like Hernandez? Yes. I think Koundé is my favourite in terms of value, but I'm not so sure. I might change that. I might put one of them in, but I could still see Belgium scoring. Werner says, hello Dylan, thanks again for the great content. Could you say why Cancelo over Mendes? Cancelo has the attacking potential over Nuno Mendes for Portugal. I think Cancelo has almost 20 goal contributions in only 60 games, which is very impressive for a fullback. And he hasn't really shown it yet, but Cancelo can get ball recoveries. He's done it in UCL Fantasy time after time again. He's a jack of all trades. He can win Player of the Match awards, get ball recoveries, score it from outside the box, get assists. That's why I'm going for Cancelo. But for me, the best Portugal defender is Pepe. I'd go for Verbruggen there, Raccoon. Who are your 4 favourite goalkeepers? Pickford, Unai Simon, Diogo Costa, and Verbruggen. I think those are the 4. Now, unfortunately, you can't go for Pickford and Unai Simon at the same time because they both play on the same day. I've gone for Rabiot as a differential. Fair enough, fair enough. You could get some ball recoveries, but I think Kante's better. Bernardo Silva or Ruiz? I'd still say Ruiz, but Bernardo Silva's good. He really is. Lamine Yamal or Gakpo? I'd go for Gakpo. Is Trippier playing, Dylan? I think so, but with Luke Shaw nearing a return, you could see him displacing him, to be honest. Yamal or Morata? I'd go for Morata. Going for both isn't a bad idea. Fabian or Pedri? I'd go for Fabian Ruiz. One second, sorry. Like I said, I got to go straight after this stream is done. Is it good to have players only from 5 nations? Well, it's risky. but I think it's definitely a strategy to go for if you have the wild card in your back pocket, which I do. But yeah, I think it's definitely a viable strategy going all in on those teams. The problem is some of these countries are facing each other if they go through, like Germany and Spain, Portugal and France if you go for them. So just bear that in mind. The captain, Bastoni or Musiala? Musiala for me. They're both good. Bastoni or Pepe? Pepe. Thank you, Jerry Rave. Are you not worried about Pepe? If he gets to it, the next round could potentially be up against France. Like I mentioned, I've got the wild card in my back pocket. I can make wholesale changes if needed. I just like Pepe a lot for this match day. And he can still get ball recoveries and offer you 4 or 5 points against France, irrespective of the scoreline. Well, Stefan, I've got Verbruggen in goal. And I don't think going for 2 Dutch defensive coverage is really that viable. I still rank Spain as having a better chance of a clean sheet. The same goes for England and Portugal. Morata over Kane? Not for me. Morata's good though, but I just think Kane is more reliable in front of goal. Akanji or Pepe? Pepe. Musiala or Jude? Already have Gundogan. Still Musiala for me. Morata, Gakpo or Ronaldo? Gakpo. De Bruyne y Lamine o Morata y un mediocampista de 7.5, ¿cómo pedir? Morata y Gundogan está bien. Eriksen también es bastante bueno y tienes a Baumgartner o Sabitzer. Yo diría que Morata y un mediocampista de Austria es la mejor opción. Entonces Baumgartner o Sabitzer. Y mi preferencia es Sabitzer en este momento. Pickford over Costa, yes. Gundogan, Saka, Williams pick 2. It would be Saka and Williams. What do you think about Füllkrug? If he starts, which is looking very likely, he could be decent, but I'm not going to lie. I think Füllkrug could be one of these players that is kind of better off the bench compared to as a starter. Now, he has a great record for Germany as a starter and as a bench player, but he kind of strikes me as that sort of striker, to be honest. Maria says, Diogo Costa and Koundé over Verbruggen and Pepe. Good luck. Good luck to you as well. Good question. I'd probably say Verbruggen and Pepe, which is what I've currently gone for, but both duos are pretty good. Yeah, Xavi Simons is fine. He's the best Dutch midfielder in Euro Fantasy, but in terms of covering the attack, Depay would be second, and Gakpo's my favourite outright. Gundogan or Musiala for the captain? Musiala for me. Cucurella, Carvajal, Verbruggen, or Cucurella, Koundé, Sommer? Probably the first trio. If taking Mittelstadt out and don't have any extra money, which 4 million defender besides Fass? Thanks. Well, Kasha offers you ball recoveries, but he's facing Spain, which isn't great. I'd probably look at Austria then, in that case. I think they could give you a 4 million defender. But, yeah, maybe what you could do is readjust things a little bit. Make a downgrade elsewhere in order to make this upgrade in the goalkeeper, well, sorry, in the 5th defender slot. Something to consider there. Yeah, I have a lot of money left over. It'd be like 3 million left over. Does Mendes start? I believe so. Gakpo or Mbappe? Mbappe. Why don't you have Mittelstadt? Well, 1, I think Denmark is a tough opposition. 2, I think Denmark have a good chance of scoring. Number 3, there is a chance that Mittelstadt is benched for David Raum, and some rumours are circulating over the last day that it will be David Raum at left back. So I'd just rather go for, well, the number 4 reason as well is I'd rather cover Portugal, Spain, England, and the Netherlands defensively. Dylan, you have Pickford and Verbruggen, yeah, but they both play on the 6th if they reach the quarterfinals. You are correct about that. That is one potential issue with the 2 goalkeepers. Well, it is an issue, but I have the wild card to use in matchday 5 or 6 if I choose to use it. Morata or Gakpo or Füllkrug? Gakpo. Yeah, I'm not sure why you put in questions in capital letters, but yeah, okay. But I have the same mid as you. Thorson, Barella and Baumgartner in place of Sabitzer, Nico Williams. I like Baumgartner, but not a big fan of Barella. He's decent, but there are better options elsewhere. Pedri's fine, Petros, but I believe Nico Williams and Fabian Ruiz are better. Some questions I have answered extensively, so I'm not going to go through them again. Mbappe out, Morata in, not for me. Maybe, look. The thing is, I said this earlier, we have this kind of mindset where you want to use all the budget, but sometimes going for the cheaper players is the best option. And I haven't locked in this transfer yet of Nico Williams in for Bellingham. Gonna have to reconsider that. So, right now we are on 171 likes. Let's get this over 200. We can definitely do that. And by the time we end this stream, it'd be great if we can get to 300 likes and get ever closer towards 25,000 subscribers. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the other links in the description below for my Patreon, the Championships Discord server, Euro Fantasy League, Draft Hound, and also Spotify. Leave a 5-star review on my podcast if you enjoy the content. And speaking of which, in terms of all these plugs, join this league. The code is JCRHjQ. Throughout most of the video, you can see on the left-hand side as well. And there is an auto-join link in the description below to make it very easy for you to join the FPL Dylan League. We have thousands of members already. Let's see if you can win this mini league, which is very competitive to say the least. Let's now go back to my team. Let's see if I'm actually happy with it, because I do like to overthink things. But yeah, my current setup is like this. I've got Musiala as my captain for today. No other options from Germany, Switzerland, Denmark or Italy. But the captaincy, I'm not really too bothered about. I've got plenty of options on each day. When it comes to it, I'll obviously make a final decision. But it's really the structure of this squad. A few final details that need to be addressed. Bellingham could become Nico Williams or a Gundogan. Eriksen is still in my thinking. Kevin De Bruyne. And other midfielders actually include Baumgartner, who I've mentioned a few times in this stream. Bernardo Silva. In the defence, I might get rid of Carvajal and go for another English defender, or a Jules Koundé to balance things out a little bit more in this defensive line. I could even go for a Dutch defender and then switch for Bruggen to Diogo Costa or Magnan. There's a few things I can do with this squad, and yeah, within the next 20 minutes I'll be looking at my team and seeing how I can improve this. But let's go to the transfer section and see. So at the moment, yeah, I'd say Bellingham. I think the front three I'm quite happy with, to be honest, although Morata is someone that does appeal to me for the round of 16. So yeah, Bellingham. Anything else? Yeah, I'd say the defenders. So Carvajal. These two are the most likely to make way. And maybe Verbruggen. Maybe. So we can show you an example of other players I can go for. So in the defense, maybe I'll go for John Stones. Or even Kyle Walker. I just like the fact that Stones is low owned, but honestly, it's not much of a difference between those two. In terms of price, obviously 0.5 million, but Walker does have the edge in terms of ball recoveries in this tournament. In goal, could go for Magnan. I could, but Belgium are no mug still. I know they can be a dysfunctional team and they rely so much on Kevin De Bruyne, but that is still a possibility for me. I'd say Diogo Costa is probably the best on paper, but then I've already got Pepe and Cancelo in this defensive line. That'd be 2 defensive triple ups, which does seem a bit too excessive for me. I think this just offers better balance overall. So yeah, at the moment, I'm going to go for this, I think. So Cancelo, Carvalho, Cucurella, Gay, Pepe, Pickford, Verbruggen. Yeah, so I'd have to say the midfield is probably the most likely area I'm going to make a change in. So I'm going to put a poll out now in this live chat. If you want to see any other polls, be sure to let me know. But let's get this show on the road. Okay, wow, Jesus, my it's taken ages to create this. So pick one midfielder. Unfortunately, I don't have enough options available to me to cover every single option I'm considering. But let's put Baumgartner. Someone saying Salah. We'll give it a few months before we talk about FPL, of course, or a few weeks. So Baumgartner, Nico Williams. Let's see, Gundogan. And yeah, we'll keep Bellingham in this poll as well. Yeah, I think these 4 are the most likely for that final midfielder slot. De Bruyne, of course, is a great asset, one of the best players in the world, but yeah, at the moment, I am not going for him. Would you suggest any Danish midfielder? Definitely Eriksen, 100%. I also like Højbjerg in terms of price, but I don't think he's as important now with a 5 million increase in budget. But yeah, Eriksen is definitely the best. It's a shame that Højbjerg is suspended. But yeah, definitely Eriksen by a country mile. Thank you, Tiggy Taylor. Always a pleasure seeing you here. Ruiz or Nico? Fabian Ruiz. What is the best captain on each day? Well, for me personally, I'm looking at Musiala today, tomorrow, I'd likely go for Harry Kane. But for those with Morata, it's a great shout. On the 1st of July, I'm looking at going for Bruno Fernandes. And on the 2nd, it's between Gakpo and an Austrian midfielder for me. So right now, Gundogan is leading the vote, which is quite surprising. There's a lot of love for him in the chat. Bellingham with only 21% of the votes. Fair enough. Nico or Bellingham? That's my big question at the moment, which we'll probably see the answer to within the next 10 minutes. Baumgartner on yellow. Yeah, but it's a good point. But to be honest, I'm not too concerned about these yellow cards because I've got the wild card in my back pocket. I do have a few suspension risks. And for those with Ronaldo, he's another one. If you get 2 yellow cards in this competition before the quarterfinals, you will be suspended for the following round. I wouldn't go for El Shaarawy, to be honest, Black Shadow, but if you are feeling it, you have to back your gut. My favourite options from the game right now, which is going to commence in 14 minutes, is Akanji and Bastoni. Kane or Ronaldo, I'd go for Kane. Verbruggen over Maignan and Bruno over Foden. Yeah, I think so. Once again, with Italy attackers, I'm not a big fan of any of them. I actually had Chiesa in the last Euros tournament. He looked very impressive, but I don't have that same feeling about Italy right now. Ronaldinho. I'm trying to decide between Williams and Silva. Yeah, Bernardo Silva's a great shout. I think, to be honest, if I were to change the midfielder, I think Nico Williams is the most likely to come in for me. Nathan Ake will play. He should do. It'd be a big mistake if he were dropped. Carvajal or Cucurella? Carvajal, but there's not much in it. Why Cancelo over Mendes? I just think Cancelo has more to his game in terms of Euro Fantasy points, ball recoveries, goals and assists, player of the match awards. He's done in UCL Fantasy over the years, which is an identical format to this. I'm surprised you're not considering Saka. Well, with Saka, he had a good start against Serbia, but I think he's tailed off a little bit. And I just think Bellingham is the most likely midfielder for England to get a goal or assist. I just have that feeling about him, which is why I've had Bellingham all week. Ake or Van Dijk? Ake for me. Will Bellingham start? 100%. Kante, Walker or Musiala, Lenormand? I would go for Musiala and Lenormand. Kante over Bellingham? Not for me. I like Kante, but Bellingham is better. My team is identical to this, except for Kane to Morata, Bellingham to Gundogan, and Verbruggen to Maignan. That's fair enough. I was also considering the Maignan one because covering France defensively is never a bad idea. Yeah, it looks pretty good overall, to be honest. I like the look of it. I wouldn't go for Palmer. Honestly, I just don't think he's going to start. Bruno Fernandes or Bernardo Silva? Bruno. Sabitzer or Eriksen? I'd go for Sabitzer. Would you not be worried? I already answered this question, AJ. I've got the wild card. I'm not bothered. Does Morata worry you? No, he doesn't worry me. If I had him, his finishing would worry me, but it's a great chance for him to get some goals and to be right up there for the Golden Boot race. Why not Bellingham and Nico and sell Bruno? Because I think Fernandes is actually a bit more reliable than Bellingham, especially for his country. Gundogan or Silva? That's a great question. I really like Silva, to be honest. I really do, but probably Gundogan. I'd go for Sabitzer there, Football Rush. Pepe or Walker? Pepe. De Bruyne or Bellingham? Not or Kane. Bellingham. Ronaldo plus Gundogan or Gakpo and Bellingham? Gakpo and Bellingham. What do you think about KDB? I still like him. It's just the fixture's tough. And France have been quite solid defensively in this tournament. I don't support England in international football, and I've already seen my country win the World Cup. My family are from Argentina. So, to be honest, I want both. I can never pick one over the other. I support both of them hardcore. I guess Arsenal need the Premier League more than Argentina need anything, but yeah, if you're asking me England winning the Euros or Arsenal winning the Premier League, easy one. It's going to be Arsenal. De Vrij, Costa, Ruiz or Mendes, Verbruggen, Pedri. I'd go for the first trio, De Vrij, Costa and Ruiz. Yeah, Saka's still decent. I still like him, but I just have that feeling about Bellingham scoring or assisting, to be honest. That's why I've got him. It's a gut feeling. Maybe it's not much logic to it. Thank you, Ruben, for the moderating the super chat, by the way, or moderating the chat. Koundé or Pepe? Pepe. Pickford or Unai Simon? Pickford. Donnarumma or Neuer? I'd actually go for Neuer. Schlotterbeck? Yeah, good option for the round of 16. If you are wildcarding in Matchday 5, then yeah, I'd have no issues with that whatsoever as a one Matchday punt. But once Tart is back, I expect that, well, I expect him to retain his spot and to come back into the 11. I prefer Musiala but going for both is fine. But would you maybe go for a Dutch defender instead? I have considered it, but it's just... The problem is, by keeping Pickford and then going for another goalkeeper who plays on a different day, my favourite will be Diogo Costa. And I've already got Pepe and Cancelo, who I really want in my team as well. So that's the issue I have. Maybe what I could do is Verbruggen to Diogo Costa, Cancelo to Koundé, and then I could also, you know, make the changes like you mentioned. But I'm actually quite happy with my defensive line. Who is the best French defender? I'd say Koundé in terms of value. They're all pretty similar though. My final dilemma, Sabitzer or Ruiz? I'd go for Sabitzer. His goals and assist record is very impressive, and I could see Austria putting Turkey to the sword. You could say the same thing about Spain versus Georgia, but I think Sabitzer would be my preference here, and Baumgartner as well, actually, who I really want to find a way to bring into this team. Yeah, that is true, Neskis, that is true, which does appeal, or increase the appeal of De Bruyne and Mbappe. But that's the last 3 meetings, I believe. Before that, he had a lot of 0-0s, and it's a lot different playing a Euros knockout or a World Cup knockout compared to, let's say, a Nations League semi-final or a friendly, in my opinion. I don't think Mittelstadt's going to start based on what I've been seeing online. That doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen, one way or the other, but I think David Raum comes in. Walker or Di Lorenzo? Definitely Walker. I covered that, Raji. I'd go for the first trio. Ake or Bastoni? I would go for Ake. I'd be more likely to bring in Williams than Gundogan, I think. Yeah, Gundogan will start. There's no question about it. The most likely players to drop from the Germany team are Wirtz, Havertz, and Mittelstadt, actually. One midfielder for the rest of the tournament? Well, depends if they stay in the competition, right? But my favourite would probably be Bruno Fernandes, I guess. Yeah, I think he'd be my favourite. Yeah, Posh is decent as an Austria defender. I think Turkey will score, but yeah, I still like him. Why is Ruiz so popular? Great performances in the group stages. One of the best midfielders in this tournament. He's got the goal and assist potential, coupled with ball recoveries. That's why. Bastoni or Mittelstadt? Bastoni. Pepe, Ruiz, Gakpo or Morata, Akanji, Bellingham, says for MEFC. I would go for the first trio, Pepe, Ruiz and Gakpo, but they're both trios are pretty good. Ashton Newell says Bellingham and Morata or Kane and Williams. I'm going to go for Kane and Williams. They're both good duos, but my favourite is Kane and Williams. Gundogan or KDB? Gundogan. Is having both Baumgartner and Sabitzer too much? I don't think so, to be honest. I'm very tempted by it. Carvajal and Baumgartner or Pedri and Walker? Carvajal and Baumgartner. Gundogan or Sabitzer? Sabitzer. Yeah, there is a chance that Wirtz is benched. I'd probably get rid of him if you have him. That's the way I look at it. I could be wrong. So it's basically the news we've been seeing, the rumours circulating online. And we've heard kind of this noise for a while now, especially with Havertz and Mittelstadt potentially being dropped. Who starts at left back for England? I think it'll be Trippier still, but yeah, I mean, Saka at left back would be ridiculous. I mean, that can't happen in my opinion. So yeah, once Shaw is fully fit and available, you'd expect him to start, but it does seem a bit weird to kind of throw him into the deep end in an international tournament in the middle of the knockouts. So I think Trippier still. Kane or Ronaldo? Kane. Is Shaw a good pick? Once he's fit and available and he's confirmed to start, yes, but I wouldn't risk it until then. Just go for just go for Stones, Gay, who for me is the best England defender, and Kyle Walker. I've covered that. I'd go for Akanji. Fulkrug. Yeah, decent, but I prefer Morata, Gakpo, Mbappe, Ronaldo, Kane. Thank you, Fahim. I'm going for Sabitzer right now. I think Baumgartner is more likely to get goals and assists, but his minutes are also more limited. We locking in? Well, that's the plan. Ruiz or Baumgartner? Baumgartner. The reason why I've gone for Ruiz is because I wanted to balance things out a little bit more, and I've got Sabitzer already. David Raum is going to start. Yeah, I've heard that quite a lot today, so I appreciate it. Ake or Pepe? I prefer Pepe. Ake has a better route to the final, but I think Portugal are more reliable than the Netherlands. No, people do own Dumfries. He's got 7% ownership for a reason, but there is a chance he's benched. I think he'll start, but he's not the most nailed-on player you'll ever see. Kane to Gakpo or Bellingham to Nico? Bellingham to Nico. Will Rudiger play? 100%. Bastonio Akanji, covered. Pepe or Cancelo? Pepe. Samuel Hoyos says, I have Pepe, Carvajal, Cucurella, and Gay. Who should I add? So you've got 1 Portuguese, 2 Spanish, 1 English. I don't know who your goalkeepers are, but maybe Stones or Walker. How many Spain players minimum with no wildcard? I'd say 2 or 3. Yeah, with no wildcard, I'd say 2 minimum. You don't need to have more than that. Simon or Costa? Unai Simon. But if you have Pickford, remember they play on the same day, Spain and England, so you can't make substitutions between those two. Saka and Williams or Rees and Bellingham? That's close, but I'd go for Rees and Bellingham. Ronaldo or Gakpo? I'm going for Gakpo. When am I arriving? You tell me, Jimmy. You tell me. Very soon, actually. Very soon. Less than 5 minutes left. I know that. Don't worry. Let's calm down. Kane or Bellingham? Kane. I have Kante and Declan Rice. Is it crazy to have both? I have 7 million to replace. Well, they're both good for ball recoveries. They kind of offer you a baseline of 4 points or more. I would probably go for... I'd probably go for another midfielder. Sabitzer or Baumgartner once again. Fabian Ruiz, Nico Williams. Take your pick from those 4. Maybe Cathal. I honestly, literally, I haven't had much time to think about my team, but I gave it enough thought in the last few days. I'm quite happy with it. Who is close to suspension? There's a lot of players, mate. I had a long list. I'll probably go for it. Well, unfortunately, I won't have time to do it, but Ronaldo's one of them. Mark Guehi, Carvajal. There's quite a few. Anyone with 1 yellow card in this competition is at risk of suspension. Why Musiala captain if Gundogan? Not sure what you mean by that, but for me, Musiala is a better asset in Euro Fantasy. Not by much, but that's the way I see it. I went for Fabian Ruiz and Nico Williams. I think they have better fixtures than Germany. I will lean on Musiala for the Germany game. Yeah, I agree. I think the Spanish-Georgia game looks really enticing. Especially the way Germany have played quite well, but I think Spain have been even more convincing throughout all 3 games. So yeah, it's time to lock in now. So let's see if I make this late change. Bellingham to Nico Williams. We'll see. So it is now time to lock in. Just over 1 minute left. Let me check. No team news really, apart from what I covered. So the Italy-Switzerland lineups were already covered around an hour ago. But yeah, I think I'm quite happy with this overall. I'm not going to lie. Relatively speaking, I'd say, yeah, quite happy overall. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with this. I honestly I don't think I'm going to make changes. I don't want to make late changes and start panicking. I think I'm quite happy with the way this is set up. Maybe more Spanish attackers would be the regret, but I do have 3 Spanish players overall. So that's not too shabby. I've got a nice balance in the attack. The defense, I've kind of gone all in on certain teams with only 1 Dutch coverage in Verbruggen. The rest are double or triple ups. Well, no, they're all double ups. Yeah, I think I'm quite happy with it, to be fair. I think I'm going to stick with this. Yeah, I don't want to change this too much. So I think by having Kane and Bellingham, I am going to cover the England goal. That's the hope. If I don't, or if they don't score any goals whatsoever, then it's a mistake. And fair enough, I'll hold my hands up and I'll rectify things on the wildcard in Matchday 5 or just with free transfers if I decide to save the wildcard for Matchday 6. So yeah, I think I'm going to be locked in here. That's it. Nothing major. So I'm stuck with the same team I talked about in the team selection. So Pickford in goal with Verbruggen on my bench. My starting 11 has Cancelo, Carvajal, Cucurella, Marguerite, Bruno Fernandes, Fabian Ruiz, Bellingham, Musiala as my captain for the matches today. Kane and Mbappe up front. And I've got Pepe, Sabitzer and Gakpo to complete my bench. The plan is to captain either Harry Kane or Mark Gay tomorrow. But to be honest, the Spanish players, especially Carvajal and Cucurella, are quite appealing. So that's probably the most open in terms of captaincy. On the 1st of July, it's between Mbappe and Bruno Fernandes, but I think I'd go for Bruno Fernandes. And on the 2nd, it's between Gakpo and Sabitzer for the final captain. Hopefully, I get the returns before and I don't need to worry about the captaincy later in this match day. But let's go enjoy the football now. Smash the like button if you haven't already and subscribe for new. Let's get this stream to over 200 likes. It'd be massively appreciated. And let's keep on pushing towards 25,000 subscribers and beyond. And normally I would stay for a little bit longer, but I do have to go. I'm going to give a quick shout out and despedida to everyone watching. So thank you to those that support the channel. I don't know why people are saying no Palmer. Mate, Palmer's not going to start, mate. He's not going to start. Ruiz captain, I reckon Spanish goals are more or higher than Musiala. Well, the thing is, though, you captain Musiala because he plays today and Fabian Ruiz plays tomorrow. So you can captain Musiala now. If he doesn't do well, you've got Fabian Ruiz tomorrow. I've covered that in all my videos. Servers are down, says Lorenzo Martinez. That's great. Good luck, Wei Seng. Good to see you, Tommy Raw, as always. How many points does your captain have to score for you not to swap him out? I think one return is enough for me, to be honest with you. Yeah, I like that Badgeraz. My team of the group stages. I wouldn't put Ndoye in there. But he was really good in Matchday 3. If it was like a Matchday 3 team of the week, I'd definitely put Ndoye, but not for the entire group stages, personally. But the rest looks really, really good. Wasif says, thoughts on my team? Looks great to me. It really does. I think it's going to do well. I do prefer Nico Williams and Fabian Ruiz over Pedri. And there's always, you know, a few kind of differences of opinion, but I have to say most of the picks, if not all of them, are very, very solid. So yeah, Lenormand differential for me, as there would be many set pieces and corners for Spain. You could be right. I've got Cucurella and Carvajal for ball recoveries and attacking potential. I'm hoping that they do the business. I went differentials because of mini leagues. That's fair enough. I mean, yeah, it's good to go different in this game. The template is far less strong, but it's far weaker in this game compared to FPL, and there's more freedom, I'd say. Thank you, Badgeraz. I appreciate it. Hopefully it does the business, and good luck to you as well. I would have gone for Nico Williams there, GG. Even though De Bruyne is a better fantasy asset overall, it's purely because of the fixture, I think. Cancelo or Van Dijk or Ake, I would have gone for Cancelo. Good luck, Wei Seng. Good luck, everyone. Like I mentioned earlier, be sure to show support to the channel, subscribing, and getting us closer towards 25,000. And also smash the like button. I will be heading off now, but you can join me on Twitter, Instagram, DylanRCM, and also join the Discord server. There's the Euro Fantasy League, Euro Fantasy League, FPL League, all of that jazz. In every single related video, you can join all my mini leagues and see if you can win the FPL Dylan mini league there. There's also the Patreon championships for early access to my videos and also Spotify, and you can get early access to my podcast that way. So consider subscribing as well on Spotify. Thank you very much for all your support. It is a sunny, hot day. I'll use that as my excuse for not being able to talk properly at times, but I will be heading off now. I wish you all the best of luck for Matchday 4. Enjoy the football, and I'll catch you very soon.